Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 369 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's up, everyone? Hope you had a nice week. We got lots to talk about. Some all-star news, some luxury box dry humping, a huge name returning to the NHL. We have some Philadelphia legend on violence. Crazy week, but let's first check on with the boys, see how their weekend went. Mikey G, what's going on, brother?
Nothing really, man. Another day closer to the Chiclets Cup. So we're getting Biz's roster finalized, and we're all good to go.
That thing's coming together quite nice. Biz, you guys, is this going to be a goon squad? You guys trying to win it? What's this going to be like?
We're trying to be competitive here. As far as Merle's video, I'm sure that was going to come up. I mean, this guy's
Rocky IV.
This guy's a content factory now. What are we going to do with him?
Hey, he wants to be on this team, and he just showed you up in northern Sweden how bad he wants it. He's doing like power squats on 1965 machinery in Sweden. So I was impressed as hell with the video. I don't know, did he put in the video the outtake of when he almost broke the window with his slap shot? It was a 100-yard slap shot. It could definitely come in handy in your street hockey tournament. My thing for your street hockey, what is it, Big Deal Selects?
The Big Deal Selects.
Big Deal Selects. I love the name. You were like the Rangers in 2001. You're just grabbing all these guys. You're grabbing all the big free agents, and they're all skilled, like amazing skill and wizardry of the game. But I don't know how these guys are all going to conform to be on a team where I think you're just like, let me get some great individuals and it'll work out, where Murley's the guy that'll make it work out by making them a team.
Yeah, the glue guy. Merles brings a lot of glue to the lineup, to the point where Sid ended up mentioning it on his podcast. You know, we got Crosby on, of all guys that come up. He's talking about, was he not his first ever NHL roommate?
Yeah, he was.
And Merle's he's the glue guy who organizes the dinner, makes sure the Ubers are set to go to the casino and drop us back off from the casino, despite how late it is, even if it's 7 o'clock the next day and you've completely missed curfew. Was it him who made you late for curfew?
Yeah, we just mentioned that last week. But Biz, you got to remember this: like, Merle's was the setup guy for Sid. At RPI, Merle's had a setup guy. The setup guy, it runs downriver. Is that the term, RA? It goes downhill.
Yeah.
The setup guy in high school, or the guy getting set up, he may be the complete opposite once you get to the top. So Merle's he adapts to what he needs to do. And on your team, with all these special talents that have never played together, he's going to have to get them together. So and I'm going to be on the side, by the way. I think RA and I will be doing some announcing, in-game interviewing, post-game interviewing. So I'm going to be all over you. You think people are hard on Tippett and the Oilers right now. I'm going to be coming at you like shit, because I'll tell you, this team is built not to win. It's built to impress with the fancy-dancy Trevor Zegras moves.
That was a nice little fucking rant. Now, what you're saying is we need a chameleon, and that's Merles. And I will say, It looks like the voting, and I left it into the Chiclets Nation's hands as far as voting was concerned. So it looks like he will be on the squad. And after seeing the lengths he went to make that Rocky IV remix and get RA going. Now, RA, I was going to ask you, that workout machinery at that park he was at, like, what do you call that? It looks like, is that like a prison yard?
That looked like basically something like a free workout thing. You see them around like public gyms and stuff.
Muscle Beach in
LA.
Yeah,
there you go, Muscle Beach. But I love
we
how
went to it, didn't we?
Yeah, but I don't know if they have, those ones are like easy, because it's like almost like just momentum, and you're barely like the chin up bar. Yeah, I understand, but those other things were a bit. I know,
but Biz, you ever see a really jacked Swede? No. You ever see? Well, I'm sure there's some world's strongest guys, Swedes, but most Swedes are just fitness freaks because they do the body weight stuff. You don't need the heavy weight stuff anymore. The whole country of Sweden, they're all ripped up because they do the body weight in the park at Muscle Beach, Ornsköldsvik.
Is it?
What'd you say it? Ornsköldsvik?
Well, that's where I played, Ornsköldsvik, where Modo plays.
That's the name of the
very close to where Merles lives, where Timra plays, which is Sons of All.
So he's going to be on the squad, and hopefully he could bring this group of guys together. Because, G, you can mention the other guys. It's always hockey who he does all these hockey tricks. I mean, yeah, like the Don Cherries of the internet. Yeah, they're shaking their fucking fists harder than RA at some lady trying to sneak a cat on a plane.
Hey, but he's participating in the All-Star game. He's doing the breakaway contest for the All-Star game too.
That's how silky this kid's mitts are. He's now being.
No, I've seen it. It's ridiculous. What's his name? Because I was going through his Instagram.
Always
Zach
hockey.
Bell.
Oh yeah,
Zach Bell. I mean, some of the stuff is so wild. I just want to see how is he in a game. Because I know he's mastered the skill of the video and the shootout, but in a game, that's what I'm wondering.
Well, then, Biz, you added a little muscle, too. You have Ollie and Jacob from on the bench, too. They can protect him out there.
We haven't talked about that yet. Yeah, I got those silly bastards from Canada coming down.
One of them, they're going to add him suspended.
The way that I found them on the internet originally was when they did a couple of the videos. I think they did like the torch training video, and it was just them eating pucks in their right in their groin area. And then the other one was when they were skating on their actual skates on cement, and the sparks are just flying everywhere. So these guys are a couple silly idiots with the content. But Whit, I agree with you. There's a lot of guys who are content factories on the team, but when you have to play in an actual game and try to win a tournament, especially at the fact that who are these guys? What's the league called that they're coming from? The All-Stars?
The National Ball Hockey Association.
Yeah, they're coming, and they got that guy, the guy with the nose with the half-chewed caramel that looked from the original one.
What's his name? Corey, yeah, that kid.
He looked like a Corey.
I mean, he said before the tourney they were going to win. He then scored, I think, at least once in the final against Werenski. Talked shit the whole time.
Longest stick ever, too.
I'm sitting down and talking to the kid. He's a Longmeadow, Massachusetts. I mean, this is where like ball hockey began. A lot of people say deck hockey, Pittsburgh.
Lemonster.
So the Lemonster. Sorry, what did I say?
I think he said Longmeadow, but got to give props to Lemonster.
Hey, there's an L in there. I'm winning at any point. It's Western Mass. I think though, in the end, we are looking at a team who I'd be shocked if they didn't repeat.
Yeah, they definitely stacked.
They're pretty nasty.
Going back to Merle's, my favorite part was when he was doing the ball drill and all the plastic cups were the pink Whitney cups he took home from Detroit. I think he checked a separate bag just to bring all those fucking cups back home from Detroit that time. Well, speaking of pink Whitney, we got to get it in. First week of the football playoffs, a toast. Some of the teams, like around here, we're drowning our sorrows. Other teams, like Biz, he's still celebrating. His team's moving on with the birdie juice. So however you're feeling, go out, celebrate with some pink Whitney. And if you're not a football fan, big deal. You just go to your local bar, order up a shot, maybe a nice pink Whitney and soda, and enjoy the nice, smooth taste of pink Whitney. Biz, your weekend looked like you had a little road trip according to the IG. Where'd you go? Is it Jackson Hole?
Yeah, I went to Jackson Hole. Oh, my goodness, boys. What a magical place. Just a very, very cool town. I went to that $1 million cowboy bar. You know how there's always that one bar in town, like you go to Vancouver, you got to go to the Roxy. I feel like this is kind of that place, but it did not disappoint. I ended up meeting a bunch of Chiclets fans. There was a senior A team from Arizona there for a senior A tournament or a meetup to play against the Jackson Hole team. Apparently they get pretty good crowds there. I think it seats the arena 600, but there was about 2,000 people jammed in for the senior A game. So ran into some Chiclets fans there, played some pool, had some fun, fucking had a couple Bugsy Malone Jaeger shots along with Pink Whitney, of course. And yeah, it's just it's a place already that I would consider moving. And as people know, the Le Grand Teton, so I guess the French discovered this place, Whit, and that the two tallest mountains look like a set of tits. So they call it the Grand Tetons.
Hold on, I'm writing this down. What is this again, Biz?
Already discovered the Grand Tetons. That's the maturity level to the French that showed up to this area of the world.
The French hate Americans to begin with. You tell them that RA is a Frenchman, they'll fucking lose their mind. That's not that's their enemy number one is an RA.
Yeah, no French blood me. How far of a drive is that, Biz? 8 hours?
No, so we flew in, but I think
I think you drove. Okay.
No, from Scottsdale, Arizona to there, it's a 15-hour drive. Oof. But it's just cool because it's all surrounded by national forest and government land, right? So it can only be so big. And the summertime is magical there. Unbelievable golf course, or they got a couple. But the size of the town is 12,000 people, and it can't get much bigger because they won't allow for more and more development, at least at like a regular rate. So I would probably put it on par with Aspen, if not even a little bit better as far as the skiing's concerned. So as far as the 12 or the 4 seasons that you're dealing with, I mean, it's a magical place, man. And you're getting that dry powder because it's not very humid. So the skiing is even better. Like I know out east, you get some great places like Vermont to go skiing, which I believe you're going there next week with, but it's just a different type of skiing.
I'm going tomorrow night or tonight, I guess, when you're listening to this. And I can't wait. I have always wanted to ski out west in Jackson Hole. My brother Sean played a game there against the Jackson Moose, I think they're called. Said like 2,500 people, he thought, 2,000 maybe. I mean, there's fights. It's an absolute blast. And I would like to get out there not only to ski, but to see the town, because you sent some pictures. It just looks like such a cool downtown that I think that and the no state tax, buddy, that's a no-brainer for you. I mean, I would love to come visit you out there.
Hey, you just reminded me. So that was one of the places I went, Mangy Moose. It's like a bar. There was a bunch of baseball players there, RA. They had a live cover band. They get live music every single night. They don't do it to too late. So it's basically you spend the whole day on the mountain. You come down at around 4:00, and then you go on like a 4 or 5 hour drinking period with the live cover band. Everybody, it's packed in there. And then usually by about 10 o'clock, everybody starts clearing out because fuck you, as you know, as anyone, you get out there to the mountain, you go all day, and then you have about 5-6 drinks in a couple hours. You're fucking pickled. You're like RA is in this fucking Ballard interview.
Gotta call on some extra flurries.
That is a perfect precursor, folks, because we got Keith Ballard coming on tonight. RA tied one on. We can get into it after the interview, but wow.
Yeah, I was hair of the dog, and I guess I had a little still more flowing in me than the night before than I expected. Because I mean, I think I had 2 or 3 drinks before we left, and yeah, whatever. We got through it. I thought it was a good interview. I thought we ended up.
Oh, it was awesome, buddy. It was awesome.
Hey, guess I'll give you 5 guesses where I went Friday night at midnight. I went to somewhere. I think I might have tweeted it, so I spoiled it there. But if you didn't see my tweet,
I did not see it.
I went.
Wait! You went to hang out with John Cooper again for the fucking 20th time, and you guys ended up at some nightclub together.
No.
Oh,
wasn't in town this weekend. I went to a midnight showing of A Clockwork Orange Friday night. No way. Midnight. Yeah.
So I've never seen that movie.
Neither have I.
It's obviously got some weird twists and turns. Like, let's hear your breakdown of this old time classic. All right.
Now I've seen it hundreds of times, not hundreds. Dozens of times as a teenager. Me and my cousin used to watch it all the time. Probably haven't watched it in 25 years. So I started playing at the Coolidge Corner over in Brookline. They do midnight showings for old movies all the time. It's kind of like a repertory theater. So I texted my cousin, my buddy, look what's playing. So we ended up going over, dude. And it's so different to watch it 25 years later. Like the guy come out, he's like, hey, anybody see this movie before? Like they talked to you before. And like half the crowd raised their hand. They'd never seen it before. And I honestly thought he was going to give a trigger warning, like because, younger crowd, modern crowd. And there are some scenes that maybe would get a trigger warning in this day and age, but he didn't give one. He's like, all right, enjoy the movie. It's Stanley Kubrick film. And it's awesome, dude, to see an old movie. I had never seen it in the theater before. I come out in 1971. So I only ever saw it on either HBO or VHS. So to see it on this big grand theater with 35 millimeter film, it's an awesome experience, dude. And it takes you away more. Like my brain's always fucking racing and going. I actually sat there and like focused and zoned in on this movie and kind of understood it probably better than I ever did before. Highly recommend it. It's a different movie, something you probably wouldn't see made in this day and age. I don't mean like for pussy PC reasons, just because it's trippy based on a book.
Well, I think that it's hard for people to find original ideas. I feel like a lot of them have already been used up. Now, this one is a type of movie like an Alice in Wonderland where it just goes on a world of its own, right?
Well, it's about these four like goons, basically. It's like set in the future, and they're basically, violent.
What year in the future?
You know what? They don't say in the movie, and I hadn't read the book since fucking high school, but it's set in the future, and they're just scumbag thieves, crooks. And one of them, he gets arrested, and he opts for this certain procedure. Basically, if you go through this procedure, you get out of jail quicker. And I don't know if you've ever seen the scene, Biz, where they got the guy's his eyes are forced open.
Yep, that's why I've never watched the movie. That scene.
Yeah, it grosses me the fuck out.
They used to put that up, I'm almost positive, at the Mellon Arena at TV timeouts for the Penguins. Like it would be like, say like firing up the fans, or I don't know what it was. And they would show those eyes clamped open. And that's why I said, what movie's that from? Clockwork Orange. I'll never see that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Malcolm McDowell, who played the lead, he was phenomenal. I mean, it was a crazy role to play. Plus Stanley Kubrick, he's one of these guys, Biz, who makes people do 50, 60, 70 takes sometimes. So, I mean, imagine doing 3 or 4 for a Watson Glove commercial. I can't imagine doing fucking 60 or 70.
Like the coach in Miracle.
Yeah. Again.
Is it Miracle? Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Isn't that your favorite movie, Grinelli?
Without a doubt, 100% my favorite movie.
That's obnoxious, RA. Is that like one of his Is that what he was known for?
Yeah. I mean, in addition to making phenomenal, unique films, yeah, he was known for like being kind of a tyrant on set and making people do the same thing over and over. And he directed The Shining too. He would have Shelley Duvall do like the same take over and over. And she was getting like terrorized by Jack Nicholson with an axe. Like she basically had to go to like therapy after making that movie.
So
such an intense director.
I still haven't seen that one front to back, but I think I saw probably the first hour of it. And he is just, oh my God, is he good in that one?
Yeah. So
he is
good stuff.
Freaking hit back in the day, man. Like, was there anybody better?
Jack? I don't know, man. Jack in the 70s. I mean, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that's my favorite one of his. That's when he kind of personified that like Jack persona. Won Best Actor for it. If you haven't seen that, phenomenal film. He earned his money, certainly working for him, but no one else earned his money this week. You did, Paul, on TNT. Blew that place down between the Coyote Head, the Howling, goofing on Talkit. Is Talkit going to punch you one of these nights? Because you're constantly giving
how's your leg, bro?
That too.
That was a fun night, man. Yeah, sometimes fucking the wires cross and you just end up having way more fun than you expected. And they told me to bring the Coyotes pelt. So I was like, I'm down to throw it on and be silly. And you know, we were a little nervous because we weren't sure how the game was going to pan out because fucking Toronto's a wagon and obviously Arizona, they've been playing a lot better hockey lately. So you just kind of have a backup as to like, you know, like what you're going to joke around about. But fuck, it was a great game that Vemelka stood on his head. Then we got the Marshy and the Habs, and that wasn't necessarily the best game either. It did get chippy towards the end, but fucking Mike and Marshy up and getting the pregame interview with them and then like kind of following it as the game went on. To me, it, like that whole experience of being able to follow him kind of helped the broadcast and at least elevate it to a different level. No?
I thought it was sick. He's great. When he wants to do stuff, because he's not afraid to say anything.
He's not afraid to do anything. It's fucking awesome. It's also like HBO. I
was at the game Saturday. My dad, the in-laws took Ryder, his cousin Cooper. It was a blast. And he is so ridiculous right now. He absolutely hammered Yossi on the winning goal. It led to the winning goal later that shift in the middle of the ice. He crushed someone else behind the net. Fabro, I think he left the game. He had a goal and an assist. He is playing at as high of a level as anyone else is in the National Hockey League right now. Him and Huberdeau are like two best players in the show right now.
And if you look at what he's done in the back half of his career, listen, you can go on Twitter and check him out. If you think I'm going to rifle off these stats right now, you're out of your goddamn mind. But just his productivity after the age of 30 is I think it's him, Crosby, and Ovechkin, and
Mario as well.
Lemieux as far as wow.
Ever heard of him?
350 sheets, keep that change. I didn't know they were bringing the stat back that far, but it's honestly fucking remarkable. And you could just tell he was kind of ramped up, ready to go for an Olympic year. And I'm sure why he was very frustrated why it didn't happen. So now he's just fucking dropping his bag on the rest of the league as a result. But going back to that game against Nashville, unreal game, playoff type game, and very, very physical for a regular season game. Who ended up clipping? Was it Tanner Jeannot who ended up getting clipped by that Riley kid?
I thought Hall hit him.
Oh, it was Hall then. Buddy, there was about 5 clips online of guys just running at guys.
That Jeannot, he hammered Bergeron in front of Nashville's bench. He ran over somebody else in the neutral zone. I was really impressed by him. We talked about him a few weeks back, talking about how he's come up through the coast and everything he's been through, and that he's a big boy. He can move. Nashville's got a team. And I know I just talked about Marchand running over Yossi, but we've chatted about him and we got to interview him once. But you saw it in person 2 weeks ago, Biz, and I got to experience it Saturday. He plays the entire game. He leads the rush up the ice. All of a sudden, he's first man back playing the attacking team, breaks the puck out of the zone on the power play. He has a cannon. He also is making fakes all the time. I was so impressed by his game. He scored the tying goal in the third period, so they got a point out of it because of him. It was a great regular season game though. Super intense, a fight. I had a blast. And
you were there as well.
Yeah, I got a late text about 12:30. I didn't get over there till the game had started, but what's an incredible buzz in the building. Sometimes you get there for a matinee on a Saturday and the place is a little sleepy, but that wasn't the case Saturday. It did have a playoff vibe in there. Place was buzzing, great time. And I suppose we should jump into the Bees because they had some big news this week. Of course, they've won 5 in a row, 8 of 9. Mixing up those lines has been a huge deal, but They signed Tuukka Rask, as everybody expected, a 1-year deal worth $1 million. It's going to be prorated, so he's going to earn about $545. He said, I'm back in Boston. It's official. Now, where's that Bud Light addendum? Because he had said before last year, I'll play for Bud Light. So then Bud Light tagged him and said, sign this contract here. So funny little joke to add along to it. But it's a huge deal for the Bees, Whit. I mean, not that Swayman was playing bad by any stretch, but you got 2 bona fide number ones, a 1 and a 1A right now. And this team's fucking moving along right now. I don't think they're going to catch Tampa, but they should get in the playoffs.
I think that the 8 playoff teams are set in the East. We could go into that a little bit later, but it's kind of, to me, set in stone if you look at the standings. Tuukka, I was happy for him. I saw him earlier in the fall, and he said his hip was feeling good. He wasn't even, I think, positive he was going to play. He probably knew, he just didn't tell me. But, I mean, I'm happy for him because you could hear when he talked about how he's grown to be really family with Bergeron and Marchand and how many years they've been doing this. And I think that he does feel like there's unfinished business, no doubt. I mean, he was on a Stanley Cup winning team. He wasn't the goalie. 2 amazing runs, lost to the Hawks and the Blues. A hell of a Bruins career. I don't care what anyone says. So now he's back. And I do feel bad for Swayman a little bit. Now, it's weird because the beginning of the year, the goaltending was struggling and Allmark wasn't playing good. He's been great lately, but it made a lot more sense. And then all of a sudden, the Bruins started playing better. Coincidentally, it goes along with how the goalies started playing better. And then Tuukka comes back. So Swayman, I feel bad for because his quote was, it's not exactly ideal. I mean, he doesn't want to be in the minors. He played there the other night. They won 5-1 in Hartford. And I think by his quotes, he's pretty positive and trying to just remind himself, let's just continue to get better and be down here. But it definitely sucks. And Don Sweeney mentioned he's a big part of the team. They got rid of Vladar because of Swayman. But when you look at it, it's just tough when you've started feeling a little bit and playing a little bit better, and then you get sent down. So that's the only guy that I think this really affects right now, because everyone else, it's a good thing.
Let me ask you this, Whit. This window's closing, right? And this team is looking really good. I don't know if Forbert's not back yet, right?
Yeah, he played.
Oh, did he play? Okay, so he was back in the lineup. So I think that they got a decent back end. I am happy with the forwards they got. You guys realistically think that they could get back Krejci? Jesus Christ, new tongue.
So I talked about this the other night, and I was saying I wouldn't be that surprised. He's playing in the Olympics. The team's good. He got maybe the rest, as I'm saying this in quotations.
Yeah, mental rest.
Yeah. So I said, well, my father's like, there's no way he'd come back. He could come back. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, somebody would grab him on waivers. And I said, well, he would just tell them, hey, if you take me, I'm not playing for you. And he's like, yeah, but why wouldn't a team that's going to compete against the Bruins grab him? Which I kind of didn't have an answer to.
So like a cock block.
Yeah. Is that, I know there's a certain amount of contracts you can give, but just claiming a guy, you don't have to give him a deal, or like, how does that work? If he decides not to come,
I don't know if they could say, hey, give us a draft pick for it. I mean, you think a veteran of his stature, they would just be a common courtesy like they did for Spezza. If you claim me, I'll retire. I mean,
hey, this is a fucking war out there, though.
I love the cock block analogy and the fact that another team in the East, you just talked about it, they're all set in stone. I think now that Tuukka's back in Boston, I think that they're just 1 through 8. It could be any of those fucking teams going off to the finals. I have no doubt in my mind. Now, the question I was going to get to earlier was, do you think that Swayman becomes a trade piece? What's that?
Besides Toronto. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Do you think Swayman becomes a trade piece? Because I think that he's so valuable. You got Allmark. I don't think anybody's going to take his contract on at the length that it's in. Do you think Tuukka's going to play beyond this year? I'd imagine he probably will. So he's probably going to come back to Boston. And given the fact that Swayman's probably at this point NHL ready, at least on different teams, and he's a young up and comer, I bet you they can get a nasty return for something they're going to use for this cup run. Like, you can't, if you're the Boston Bruins, given the fact that Bergeron's up after this year and you got, Pasta kind of playing at his peak. You got Marshy playing the way he's playing right now through this season. He's having an MVP caliber season. What is he, top 6, I think, in points per game output right now? I think you throw all your fucking eggs in this basket right now. You have to.
You go out and yeah, I mean, that's giving up the future goaltender for your entire organization. That's trying to win now, though. I don't even hate what you're saying. But it's basically looking at it. Sorry, it's basically looking at it like in 3 years, you're saying no matter what, the Bruins are going to have some dark times. right? Can you say that?
Yeah, because
3-4 years from now, they could be completely rebuilding.
100%. Yeah.
Yes.
That's around the corner. Given the draft in the last several years, they're definitely going to have a lull here.
So, Biz, I mean, depending on what you could get for him,
I wouldn't care. Like, it's just like, you can't think about that. You got to try to win one more with this core group. And that's a decision that Pittsburgh's going to have to make here. They're going to have to put all their chips in one basket.
That's not a decision in Pitt. That's just fucking.
That's happening.
That's happening.
All right. Well,
How about Gino hopping back? We don't have to go into that now, but Malkin just comes back, laughs at the whole league.
RA, you mentioned drafting. Real quick, 2017 first round pick Urho Vakanainen, 3 straight games with 20 plus minutes a game. He's been a huge addition on the back end for the Bees.
Yeah, I liked him when they first brought him up a couple of years ago, and then they really didn't bring him up for another do-si-do until now, man. I like that kid's game as well. But, Biz, just to go back to your question, I don't think they trade Swayman. Like Whit said, he's the future. I'd be surprised, not surprised, but I don't know if Tuukka's going to play after this year. I think this is like maybe the last kick at the can for him.
We'll last dance.
Either way, I can't see them trading Swayman unless it's some first line sniper with some term left, but I just don't see that happening.
I mean, I think a big.
I don't hate it at all, Biz.
I know.
I do not hate it at all.
If you can't get Krejci back, you got to try to get something back like that type of impact. And I would get rid of Swayman to do it. And I bet
I really want Krejci back.
Well, you're going to need one if you want to beat some of these other teams in the East. We can move on. Yeah. Enough Bees talk for one episode.
Actually, one last note. Earlier in the week versus Montreal, Chris Weidman gave Eric Haller a little Samoan-style cocoa butt. He got a game suspension for his troubles. He got a roughing and an unsportsmanlike penalty on the play. One other suspension of note, the Islanders' Ross Johnson got 3 games for an illegal check to the head of New Jersey's A.J. Greer. That's going to cost these guys a few bucks, and that's less money for them to invest in Alto.
All right, no doubt. We got to talk to you about Alto, guys. And I think all of you people at home know I'd like to at least think I had this long, incredible, but actually super disappointing NHL career. But do you know that most players, the average player's career is only 5 years? And everyone from these young studs with all the money in the world to older guys, retiring, they need to start thinking about saving. No matter how old you are, no matter what you're doing for a living, you got to think about saving. And there are a lot of options out there, but none are better, in my opinion, than Alto. If you're like me, you don't just want to be buying boring stocks and have all that stuff in your retirement portfolio. How about crypto, maybe artwork, or even some startup companies? Alto lets you invest in crypto, real estate, artwork, startups, and more. The best part is that it's tax advantage or can even be tax-free in certain cases. Let's start thinking about retirement earlier so you can all retire earlier and play more golf, like myself. And let's do it all together with Alto. So go to altoira.com/chiclets and you can get started for just $10. That's altoira.com/chiclets. These guys are hopping in for the Chiclets Cup in Vegas. It's an amazing way to put your funds towards your retirement. Go to Alto right now.
Good job, Whit. Good job, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Did you hear about this girl who's suing Drake because he put hot sauce in a condom?
I did. I read that blog.
Shove it up her vagina to get pregnant by Drake, and
it's the craziest story because I always thought that, but I was like, nobody's ever actually done it. When sure as shit, this girl went to do it. Now the thing is, why didn't he just flush it down the toilet as opposed to just pouring hot sauce in his cum?
Because he's petty.
Environment.
Because he's petty.
What'd you say, RA?
Bad for the environment.
Oh.
No, I don't think you're supposed to flush them, but I think we've all done it once or twice.
Well, if you're afraid of girls ripping the thing open and artificially inseminating themselves with your cum, I don't mind maybe ruining the environment with an extra dome down the drain.
But that is bizarre, Biz. I mean, does hot sauce even kill sperm? I mean, do we even know that?
Oh, I have no clue about the science of that, RA, if that's what you're asking. But, oh, God, I heard this fucking wild story one time. It was like the worst like first dates ever. And like one of the things when the girl showed up, the guy like wanted to get out of the way right away. He's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know that like one of my like bad habits is after we have sex, I usually come in the condom and then I chew on it like bubble gum afterward."
This is disgusting, Biz.
Okay, sorry. We can delete that then.
I mean, do you know this person, Biz? Be honest.
No,
Is this you?
It was something on the internet.
God.
Oh
Did you guys ever
God.
do that?
Did you
thing?
see the girl who said her worst first date ever was with Leo?
With the
Leonardo.
Star Wars thing?
Yeah, and he's running around playing fake Star Wars. All right, I could see you doing that. Maybe not on a date, but just by
Leo,
yourself in the basement.
Slide into my DMs, Leo. I'm down for all night. I'll even watch the shitty Star Wars movies if we can play fucking lightsaber fights with each other.
Ray and Leo snuggling watching Star Wars.
Rubbing each other's, what are those things called?
Lightsabers.
Lightsabers.
I thought you were going to say docking.
Oh, well, there's a little of that with the Millennium Falcon going on.
That was a complete fake story, right? Or was that legit?
I mean, it's on the internet, so fucking take it with a grain of salt. Fully truthful.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
I heard it was
fake. I mean, I'm believing dudes are chewing their rubbers after sex like bubble gum with.
Have you ever been on a date, either one, where you have like your buddy call you like 10 minutes in if you need a bailout, like, and you're like, oh my God, I have an emergency, I gotta go. You ever have like that situation if you're on a bad date, you need a bailout? Or
I've only seen women do that.
Okay,
on like movies and
on
shit.
like Sex in the City and shit.
Have you ever had to do that, RA?
No, I wouldn't fucking welch in a date. I mean,
have you ever had any women 10 minutes in say there was an emergency at home and they had to go?
He's like, matter of fact.
He's like, shit,
all the time.
That's how a lot of them. That's how a lot of those ended.
I've never had anybody tap out on a date at that point. No. So
well, if we're gonna talk about dates, we should talk about Kodak Black's date at the Panthers game. Oh my. That's the one piece they might be missing to get out of the Atlantic. Did you see the fucking defense on that guy in the box? If you could watch the tape again, it's rare for a guy that short to use a 120 flex. But I tell you what, Whit, that was a very impressive defensive display right in front of the Panthers brass too.
The best part, I thought it was some of the scratches, or was it the brass? That was my favorite part.
Roberto Luongo and the analytics team watching him put on a defensive display. Kids at home, stick on the biscuit. And he didn't overcommit either. He had the fucking pet. People thought they were banging in the box. They were not banging. He was just simply grinding.
I thought he was clapping her cheeks, no doubt, from the cross view camera, cross ice camera. He said, "Oh my God, he's banging her." And then you come to find out they were just doing the little twerk action together. She was twerking for him. I mean, talk about a change. We've talked about the Wild going from boring to exciting. And look at the Panthers now. They scored 10 goals a game. They got Kodak Black just getting after it by himself in a box at center ice. That place is rocking now. I want to go to a game.
What was the stat? What was the stat, RA? Do you have it? I think they've scored 50 goals in their last 8 games.
Well, first off, we should backpedal and let people know who aren't familiar with the Kodak Black incident.
Is anyone not familiar with that?
There's not one person on the planet who doesn't know about this.
There's a 73-year-old listener from Burnaby, British Columbia, that's heard of Kodak Black and fucking at the Panthers.
I'm just taking the notes here, boys. Yeah, Kodak Black, he's a rapper, was invited to the Panthers game. The league tweeted out a picture. Hey, look who's at the game. And then the video came up of him from across the ice, and it did look like he was, as Whit said, clapping those cheeks from across the ice. We did get a further view later, which, by the way, it wasn't 100% conclusive that he wasn't clapping said cheeks. Apparently, she was just twerking. The NHL deleted the tweet. It was this kind of whole rigmarole for the whole night. Biz, I guess his Corsi that night was 98%, so he was doing something right. But the question is, does he get the invite back from the Panthers after this?
Oh, yeah. Think? They got him off
9 goals with them there.
They didn't have to give up any assets to get their best shutdown defenseman.
Well, somebody gave up an asset.
That's true. Hey, good. I say put him in the Hall of Fame in the builder category. I mean, fuck, come on. Gary got in.
I'm going to Lauderdale for 6 weeks, February to March, and I'm going to a couple games because it is electric factory in that building right now. For the first time ever, there's crowds, and well, not the first time ever, but there's crowds are going nuts. I can't wait to get down there and see that team in action. They got to go on the road now where they kind of struggle. I think they're like 5-4-5, but 20-3 at home is insane.
And they do have an all-star. As I mentioned earlier, the all-star rosters and coaches were announced. Jonathan Huberdeau is the lone Panthers representative right now. They are doing the fan vote, and that's going to conclude tonight, Monday night, so we don't know who's in yet. But I'm not going to rattle through all these names, guys, but I will say Jack Campbell, absolutely great story. The guy was drafted 12 years ago, had some hiccups up and down his career. He's having a tremendous year, likely Vezina finalist right now, and he finally gets to his first all-star game. Biz, let's hear it for your boys in the Leafs.
Oh, I agree with you. I think right now it's between Saros, Shesterkin, and I would say Campbell's probably that third guy right now. We're going to see what happens in the back half of the year. But Listen, I've been very impressed with Toronto. Even after that difficult loss against Colorado, they have a great rebound win in the shootout against Vegas. I know they end up taking a dump against the Coyotes and Vejmelka, but then they going to St. Louis and they end up putting up 6-piece and getting that done. But as far as Campbell's concerned, he's been there the entire year when they've needed him. I've said it. If they get past the first round, I think he enters that status of like being one of the most famous Leaf goalies ever. You know, you think of Felix Potvin, you think of Cujo. They got a soft spot for the goalies who can fucking put them into that situation to win. So
we can get them to the second round.
Fuck off. Hey, that given with what's gone on in the last 30 years, have they been to a conference final? Or I guess the only one was against when they lost to the Kings.
Really?
To the Kings.
93. No, the Philly beat them when Roenick scored in overtime to go to the conference final.
Yeah, that was second round. So
okay. Hey, Biz, no offense to you whatsoever, but it shows how ridiculous Vasilevsky is that you don't even mention him in the Vezina because he's so good every single season that people forget about him.
Yeah, I think
he's right there too.
I think I'm a softie where I'm like, no, you've already won a couple. It's time for the other guys.
You're just a man of the people.
I like to snap it around. But another guy who might get the last man in, JT. I think that, we talked about him, a little nugget here. We interviewed Sam Gagner, and he's very close with him, spends a lot of time with him up in Muskoka. And he had a lot of the Leafs up there this summer to kind of have one of those powwows being like, hey, last year, let's put it behind us. Let's fucking put the work in and let's get the job done. So I've been very, very impressed with the Maple Leafs overall, and I'm very happy for Jack Campbell. And we've told his story many times on this podcast. First round draft pick, a lot of pressure, had to go down to the minors to find his game, and now he's right back exactly where everybody'd expect he was going to be when he was drafted in the first round by the Dallas Stars. So happy for Jacko and happy for the Leafs, and I think they are primed and ready. Yeah.
One quick or a couple quick notes on the Panthers before we move on, because the stats are nuts. They scored 7+ goals in consecutive games for the first time ever in franchise history. It's their second game with 9 goals this season, and they have scored at least 4 goals a game in the last 9 games.
Stat guy Witt.
Hopefully, people are betting the overs on the Panthers and making money. And I mentioned Huberdeau. I talked to Jans a little bit about what makes him so special. He said he's one of the best passers he's ever seen, and his edges on his skating, and he's quietly the biggest superstar in the league. And I think right now, if he's not third in the league in scoring, he's right there. I know Ovi took over the top spot, or he's tied with somebody.
He's leading the league in assists though, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, he's not playing with Barkov either, right? I mean, he's got his own line. I think he's with Bennett and Duclair, and they've formed this ridiculous, I don't want to say second line, it's the first line, but when you have Barkov on another line, it's kind of flipping and flopping them. And so I think that in the end, protecting the puck and all those things that you don't really see that often if you don't watch the Panthers a ton is kind of what makes Huberdeau so special, because every night he's doing it. It doesn't matter, home and on the road for him.
Yeah, best winger in hockey right now.
Nathan McKinnon wasn't too pleased about his teammate Nazem Kadri not making the All-Star game. Quote, "It's silly. I don't think every team should send a guy. It's an All-Star game, not a participation game." Great little quote. Of course, Kadri could get voted in with the last man voting. The coaches are going to be Rod the Bod for the Metro, on the Atlantic, Andrew Brunette at the Central, Jared Bednar, and out in the Pacific, Pete DeBoer has got the nod there. 18 players. This is their very first All-Star game. So congrats to all those guys who are making it for the first time. And boys, I think they fucking called up Plain Jane and asked her to design the jerseys because there's nothing to them this year. I know we should.
NHL Biz loves them.
No, I liked them.
I like them too.
I thought they were a little boring and just kind of
vintage.
What about vintage? How?
What's vintage? How are they?
They just give me vintage vibes. I look at them. That brown color looks like a vintage.
It's more of a Marlowe, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that.
More of a Marlowe. I really like that blue too. Listen, let's see what they look like with the full gear on, because I imagine they have the matching pants and the matching gloves. So I wouldn't judge them just quite yet. You could judge the Nashville outdoor jerseys. I would pump the brakes on these ones with dog.
Well, I also don't know. It's kind of hard. I feel like every jersey now doesn't look that great. I think they've, like you said with movies, they've run out of ideas for jerseys. Every new one seems to be a little suspect. Not every, but most of them.
Do you think NHL should change up the dynamic of the All-Star game and the way that it's voted on?
I think McKinnon's dead on. I've been saying that since McKinnon was shooting pucks in Crosby's driveway before he got security to kick him out. The whole fact that every team needs to have a guy makes zero sense. It's the best players in the league. So when you look at Marchand and Kadri, that is not even. Why have to have somebody from Columbus? No, I'm just thinking of random teams. It just doesn't. That's not the what the game should be. It should be the best players in the league. And now, obviously, the games have turned into the effort can be questioned. It's just not. It's not physical hockey. It's not what hockey really is. So people don't really necessarily love watching it. But picking the players wise, you got to take the guys who deserve that year to go. They're lighting up the league. Get them in there. Who cares if there's 4 guys from one team? That's great, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I know baseball always did that. I don't know if other leagues copied it, but
one year in the OHL when the London Knights were fucking nasty, I think they had 7 guys on the All-Star team. No word of a lie. They fucking had 7 guys, and they had Danny Sivrett, Corey Perry. Well, that's the only ones I can remember, but they had 7.
They had 5 more guys. Just believe me, I promise you.
I think Dan Girardi was on that list. What other forwards they have? Come on, G, help me out. Fuck, maybe look it up for the biz here.
I was just going to say, speaking of All-Stars, guys, Timo Meier, 5 goals right now in the LA Kings versus San Jose Sharks game.
Holy shit.
And we're not even halfway through the third.
Holy fuck. Wow.
Whoa.
Have a night, Timo.
Biz,
Who's the last guy to get a double hat trick?
I'll look that one up for you, Biz.
Okay, look that one up for me.
6 goals in a game?
Yeah, fuck, man. I think there's the original. I think the first rule came from baseball. I think it was like the 1950s Cincinnati Reds. They had like 7 guys to start in the All-Star game, and I think that's when baseball instituted the rule. Everybody should have like 1 player, and I think it just rippled over to other sports over the years.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Good stuff.
You got. Well, I was going to say you got to carry the pod right now because I'm looking up this stat of the.
All right. Sorry, you guys all.
Okay, here they are. They had Corey Perry, Dylan Hunter, Rob Schremp, Dave Bolin, Danny Sivrett, and I think one other guy in there. But it was fucking nuts. They had they still had Mark Mathod on that team. They still had Dan Girardi on that team. They legit had. They could have probably won the Calder Cup that year in the American Hockey League. That's how fucking good that London Knights team was. I'm still bitter about it.
Can't tell.
Didn't get your kickback.
Hey, so no player has scored 5 or more goal or 6 or more goals since Daryl Sittler scored 6 in February of 1976.
That might be the game when he had 6 and 4.
6 and 4, yeah, 10 points for
10. The record. Wow.
Yeah.
I just turned it on. There's 3 minutes and 50 seconds left now. So get him out there. Keep him out there the whole game. 6-2. I think Merle's had the Kings.
Yeah, we're recording Monday afternoon. Lots of matinees with Martin Luther King Day. And the Avalanche, man, this team keeps rolling. Just had to update my stats. They just won their 14th straight at home, which extended their franchise record. It's the longest since Toronto back in 2018. They're now 15-0-1 in their last 16 at home. This team just keeps fucking rolling along, boys. We're stroking them, but when you deserve to be stroked, you get stroked.
My wrists are way too sore to be giving these guys a double A HJ right now. They're rolling. This is exactly who we thought they were, guys. They are humming, much like the Leafs, as everybody keeps fucking barking at me on Twitter when I give them any type of compliment, is we got to wait till playoff time because there's a couple big teams in the West that they still got to get by, but very impressive. Great contribute. I mean, we talked about Kadri. I mean, fuck, when Kadri's been your best forward and then you still got McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, and they're I mean, even Newhook's been contributing offensively lately. They got the back end buzzing, and then Darcy Kemper and that. They're a fucking wagoon.
Yeah, and the only tough news out of Colorado was just Bowen Byram and the news that he's taking a leave of absence, I guess you could call it. But things just aren't right since the concussions. And we talked a while back about I think I read an article in The Athletic about what he went through. And it's been kind of a torturous couple years for this kid. And when he plays, you can see the future he has. Let's hope, but let's pray, right? Because he's got to get his head figured out. But I think he played the other night. maybe a week or two ago and then said, I can't do this anymore. I cannot play right now with where my head's at. So all you could say for that is good luck and get healthy. And it's one of him being that young and that bright of a future. It's like, if you need to take 8 months, man, just whatever you need right now. So I think he's definitely doing that at this point, because he's tried different times to come back and it hasn't been right. This is when you got to reset. You have a lot of years of hockey ahead of you. Like, I'm talking to him, but you know what I'm saying? And we wish him the best, because that's not stuff to mess around with is your noggin.
Absolutely. I'm glad. Hopefully he comes back well. Like you said, it's just a tough situation. It's a good read on the kid, but at least he's taking the initiative and taking himself out where, 20 years ago, this might not have happened. Guys at least realize they can do this now.
Big time. Great point, RA.
Another big story, well, it hasn't happened yet, but Evander Kane is still unsigned as a recording. The scuttlebutt seems to be he's going to end up somewhere. I know we talked about it last week. We didn't think a lot of teams would sign him, but Tim Peel, former referee / insider, he's reporting it's going to be Edmonton. It hasn't happened yet. Ken Holland is on record saying he believes in second chances. Connor McDavid was asked about it. Want to roll that tape with his reply?
I'm not really here to discuss optic issues. If fans don't like it or the media doesn't like it or whatever, I think, it is what it is. I'm sure there's lots of things that go on the ice and whatnot that fans don't like. And we don't necessarily have to discuss those up here with you guys. So, the public opinion is something that obviously matters a lot. But we're here to try to win games and try to put together a good team on the ice. And if Kenny thinks that's what he can do, then that's what he can do. I think Kenny's got our full support in what he does.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, well, I'm sure we could just blame it on the internet, but this seemed to piss off a lot of people. He didn't really kind of come down strong one way or the other, but because he didn't come down hard on Evander Kane, they got mad.
What is he supposed to say?
I'm sorry, buddy. Don't even fucking get me started, man.
I actually was so confused by this one. But
this guy's beaten down. He looks beaten down by all this.
The auto game.
We won't get to that right quite yet, but even from that, they're asking him exactly like you say, well, what the fuck is he supposed to say in that moment? He might be fucking teammates with him in a week.
This is just such a. I know. Okay, so I said last week I wouldn't sign him. I don't know if I've ever been one to change my mind. You guys know me well. Usually I stick to my guns. But I'm all in on signing him in Edmonton. We got to do something. Get another goal scorer in there. And the only thing I'm worried about now is there's another investigation now going on, correct?
Yeah.
And he got 21 games for a COVID violation earlier in the year. If they somehow prove or find out that he did something again, crossing the border with vaccination status being unknown, he might get 50 games. He might not even be able to play. Well, is there any update on that, RA?
No, NHL is still doing an investigation, which is probably delaying the signing. But that's another question. If he did this as an AHL player, can he still get suspended in the NHL?
Yeah, because he was under contract in the NHL.
Okay. Yeah, so they're waiting on this investigation. I don't know if is faking a thing worse than flying out. I mean, if he's not supposed to fly, why did they let him fly? I guess there's some other questions there. But regardless, a lot of people in the know seem to think whether he gets suspended or not, he's going to end up on an NHL roster at some point. So, again, we'll keep tabs on it. And if it changes, we will let you know.
You think this is something that Holland goes to the leadership group with and says, hey, we're thinking about doing this. What do you guys think? And they're maybe saying, hey, having a guy who could put 30 in the back of the net, and people might question with everything he's got going on in his life, whether he can play up to that standard. But fuck, man, he did it all last year. I do not know how he had the season he had last year, going through what he was going through personally. Like, that is just like, that's a certain way to be able to turn off your brain and just worry about hockey when you're on the ice. But I guess if one thing happens, you sign him to a low money deal on a 1 year, and worst case, you just go bury his contract in the minors. Now, does Edmonton have enough cap space to even risk that? Because if it doesn't end up working out and it does become a headache, like, was that the little gap where they could have made something work to maybe actually acquire something for playoffs? So I get why you were saying I wouldn't do it. as desperation grows in Edmonton, I could completely understand why Ken Holland would want to do it. I mean,
I don't think the desperation can grow any worse. And I got all the respect in the world for Ken Holland, like what he's done with his career. And Dave Tippett's had a hell of a career. And these star players are amazing players, what they do on the ice. But what the fuck? This is every single year we're saying this, but this was the one year it was different. And that game the other night, like 3-1, like you haven't played in forever. You're playing Ottawa, pesky Sens, no doubt. Not taking credit away from Ottawa. You give up 5 goals in the third period, so they don't have a goalie. I tweeted today, you got to do something. I don't really care what it is. I know I said I wasn't down with firing the coach. I think they've lost 5 more in a row since I said that. Maybe somebody can fact check me on that.
They've lost, I think, 12 of the last 14.
But buddy, they're a bottom 10 team in the league right now. They're awful. And so what? Sorry, go ahead. All right.
No, I was going to say 6 straight, 12 of 14, and they have on tap Florida 2 times, Tampa, Nashville, Washington, and Carolina.
Yep. Yeah, they got to go play those teams. The Panthers twice. Carolina, Tampa, all these teams. What are you going to? So I've read a couple things that mention that for McDavid, this is actually like a little slow. He's got 13 points his last 13 games. He's that amazing that you got to mention a point per game isn't exactly his normal pace.
Bury his contract in the minors.
No, seriously, like that'll change. Draisaitl for his, value and what he does is a little cold for him. That'll change. And Puljujärvi hasn't been the same since he came out of COVID. There's a lot of things that could turn around, but they don't have goaltending, and they don't really have many defensemen that can really make a play. And the coach seems to what he's saying isn't working, and the GM isn't making any deals. So how long does this go on before you just do something? Whether it's Kane, whether it's firing Tippett, just something.
And those 2 wins came against the Kraken and Columbus, by the way. Of those, I got
one more thing to say.
One more, okay. Add a little.
And you can go ahead. I know I've said a lot today.
No, I love it.
I had a million things stirring around in my brain before the show. The one thing that's making me feel good: the Calgary Flames fucking stink too. So I think they're both going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I will not have an earring because you've stayed quiet on purpose. I know your team stinks as well.
No. I had that shit written down, man. I was going to talk about that. Now, this is like a Goosebumps choose your own ending because I could go tire pump on the Sens. I could go take a nice hot deuce on the Oilers, or I could fucking rag on the Flames, who I fucking have risked my shave head on national television for. I guess I'll summarize the Flame situation real quick. They've lost 8 of the last 10. They were going on a great stretch, and they lost an emotional game. I think it was before the shutdown against the Vegas Golden Knights, and they had to play. I think it was 2 nights later. It was in San Jose, and they were up 3-1. The Oilers know about the 3-1, the classic 3-1.
That's an Alberta thing.
And then they end up losing to San Jose, who I think is surprising a lot of people. A lot of teams in the Pacific are surprising a lot of people, and they just haven't been the same since. And everybody you talked to in Calgary said that team coming into the season and the way they were rolling and how they got that full training camp together, and Sutter got to implement his systems. They were playing as one. They were getting incredible goaltending. They were getting the offense from the guys that they needed to, and they were playing with passion. The last 4-game stretch has been abysmal, and that's what Sutter has harped on the most. He says we just are not playing with passion right now, and it's been a bit of a goalie carousel. Markstrom is not playing to the caliber he was at the beginning of the season. I don't know if that's because things have been tweaked up or just resting him, but it's been a goalie carousel between him and Vladar. So I think that they got to get him back going. They got to find that passion in their game. And then once the guys kick on the offense, they'll be back rolling in no time. Now, am I nervous about the shaved head situation? Absolutely. I think that Edmonton will turn things around, but holy shit, dude, this is fucking Hyman. No goals in his last 11 games. And I know I like pumping Toronto's tires. That was a cheap replacement they ended up getting for Bunting. I think Bunting ends up having more points than him right now. And in a time period where they need a guy who they just handed over 5.5 sheets a year, all of a sudden he goes dry. You mentioned Puljujärvi goes dry. I think the biggest fucking concern, though, is this sister wives bullshit with the goaltenders. You got to pick a guy and you got to run with him. He's got 3 fucking guys right now, and then Skinner gets put in net in that Ottawa game.
Well, Smith's hurt again too.
And then the blunder. That was when everything really turned, did it not? So is he your guy? Is he the young guy you're going to give the net to? Are you going to go back to Koskinen next game, who ended up having the kind of a verbal war in the media with Tippett? I think they're going to turn
COVID. I think Skinner. Am I imagining this? Sorry.
Bez, I think you might have learned one thing. You never give out a lock. There's no such things as locks in gambling. You said there's not a chicken dick's chance the Oilers lose that game. It's going to be a bloodbath. Well, it was a bloodbath, but it went the other way, my friend. You guarantee to win. That's why, I know you're new to the gambling thing here, but you cannot guarantee wins, man. You just can't do it.
Well, I mean,
you can do anything on Twitter.
I blame the Oilers. They, in a desperation win, and you mentioned the schedule coming up. It does not get any easier. Wait, are you going to blame it on the lulls in games? Is that something that is a big enough excuse for them right now for the play?
Because you have energy and then you're up 3-1. You had the 2 periods. It's not like not playing for 14 days or whatever it was. It didn't cause them to give up 5 in the third at home. It's just a team that's just a wreck. They're an absolute mess. Watching them play it's crazy what it's turned into. And I guess it shows that when your power play, special teams can kind of like hide warts, and 48% at one point early in the year. I probably, when I was betting my earring or my ear off, I should have taken account that their PP was going to go a little cold at one point.
Going to the Ottawa Senators, though, credit where it's due. I think in their last 11 games, they've beaten the Hurricanes, Avalanche, Lightning, Panthers, Oilers, and Flames. They swept the Alberta trip. Contributions from the young guys. I kind of get a little concerned about this. Okay, you pretty much know you're out of playoffs. Edmonton did it for a long time, and then like the second half of the season, that's when you get rolling. You're playing a little bit looser. Between Norris, Batherson, Tkachuk, and Shabbat, you got a pretty fucking good core moving forward. It seems like year over year they're like doubling their production and adding that much more. Some great news for the Ottawa Senators with Jake Sanderson getting named to the Olympic team. I'm still fucking concerned about their goaltending because I don't know if Matt Murray is the long-term solution. So credit where it's due. The pesky Sens knocked off a guarantee lock. But let's see how they keep going the rest of the year here.
2 puck line covers in a row as well. They've been a hell of a team to gamble on too, because they're always a dog. And if you can get that reverse puck line, they cover by 2. Nice little payoff. I think they were plus 450 last game. So kudos to them. I'm not sure if you guys saw that segment that Emily Kaplan from ESPN did on Jack Hughes. It's pretty good. It was about 5-10 minutes long. He was basically saying how much he hated his freshman year. His rookie year in the NHL was just so frustrating for him. And, we talked about the big deal he signed earlier this year, but he went on a nice little ripper recently. 5-game point streak, 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points total. He didn't get on the board Thursday versus the Isles, but he's taken his game to the next level, boys. He said, I'm in a good spot right now in terms of points. I'm shooting the puck, putting things toward the net at the same time. I'm only 20. By the time I'm 25, I want to be a completely different player and much better. Do either one of you guys able to catch any of that segment?
Yeah, and I love his game, and you could tell every single year he's looked better. He's looked bigger and stronger, and we talked about it. And then the injury and what he's battled through to get this hot, it kind of shows that contract, while to some people seeming a little aggressive for what he'd proven in his NHL career so far, I think New Jersey knows this is a special player. This is a guy that could be a complete game breaker in a few years. And I think Hughes talking about himself at 25 shows like he doesn't even consider himself close to being fully grown into the player he's going to be. I'll also mention that I didn't understand when I played hockey. I didn't understand an NHL network. I didn't truly understand till we got about this season and last season in Chiclets, how diehard the New Jersey Devil fans are. That is a fan base that has impressed the hell out of me. I mean, they do it by torturing me online, but if you don't show the Devils respect, if you don't talk about them, and then the downloads that we had for the Eliash interview, this is a fan base that wants their team to be good and that loves their club because they are all about us talking about Jack Hughes and how good he's going to be. I'm down with doing that, but you guys got to start winning more games. I'll hop on the Devils bandwagon. I'm not afraid to jump from team to team. I've proven that. Devils fans are straight up lunatics. They're all David Putties, the Devils. And I've had enough of it online. So there's your Hughes blowjob. Are they not crazy a little bit?
And maybe make playoffs
Nuts.
first.
Yeah.
Grunelli deals with them. He knows.
Without a doubt, the craziest fan base I think we deal with on social media in a good way, in a positive way.
Well, I mean, any fans
they're not like Canucks fans.
Any fan base who gets
How
their
you
own
guys
name
doing?
put on jerseys, that's a little crazy. That's what they lead the league in. Own name on personalized jerseys. Also, a couple of the jersey notes. Dougie Hamilton, he's out with a broken jaw. Happened a little while back. They had an e-bug situation. Kyle Shapiro, he got to travel with the Devils, took the team bus to Long Island, stayed in the hotel, ate with them, and he says, "I can see why guys love this league," which is like a pretty funny quote. He got the royal treatment, got to do a little lap out there.
He went buckets off for the loser lap.
No
too.
Bucky warm up. Also, too, we're gonna give a note. Jimmy Vesey, man, he's a guy they picked up kind of late. Gave him, I think, $800,000, close to the rookie minimum. And he's been fucking killing penalties like crazy for this team. I think he's, I don't know, 2.5 minutes a game killing penalties. Got 6 goals, 4 assists. So yeah, good to see friends of the program doing well out there. Hopefully, he'll get himself a nice little deal after this one. A couple other notes before we get to our interview here. Big Z, he tied Scott Stevens for the most games played by a defenseman in NHL history at 1,635. Only one guy ahead of him, the Tan Man himself, Chris Chelios. He's got 1,651. So Z could likely catch him this season. You mentioned the Pittsburgh Penguins earlier. Gino, first game back, 2 goals, 1 assist, says he feels great. But this is a crazy stat that come out of the internet somewhere. 2021-22 marks the 16th season that Sid, Gino, and Letang have played together. It's the most by a trio in NHL history. I was surprised. I know you were too, Whit.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like very surprised only because I thought there at least it had happened before. I mean, pre-free agency, the Canadiens dynasties, the Red Wings with like Yzerman, Fedorov, Lidstrom. And then I started thinking 16 years. That's a long time, dude. I mean, I know Yzerman was around that long and Lidstrom, but Fedorov wasn't on the Red Wings his entire career. So right away thinking about that didn't make sense. And I mean, it shows, dude. They wouldn't be together that long had it not been as successful as it's been. And you got and Fleury's a part of that too. And it's not the 16 years, but the 3 Stanley Cups and the years of being contenders. It's been a pretty crazy run for that entire like fan base and organization. And those 3 guys in particular, after getting to experience what they did in the late 80s, early 90s with Mario and Jagr, it really happened again at an even higher level. So a blessed fan base and city, if you ask me, in terms of the Penguins in the past 30, 40 years.
I mean, Gino too. I'm sorry, G, we're going to jump in there.
Well, guys, you mentioned Zdeno Chara before, and there's a lot of online chatter right now. Do you guys think that the NHL should send Chara to the All-Star game to let him get the hardest shot one more time?
Yeah, but I bet you he doesn't even want to go. But yeah, bring him. They should bring people in for just the skills.
Well, aren't they bringing Zegras just for skills?
I think they're doing that this year. I think Zegras will come in for the breakaway contest. So it's like, why not just bring in Chara for hardest shot? Let him go out with a bang.
Sure, I don't care. I want to give every good defenseman a Norris. Bring every guy to the All-Star game. They can stay in my room if they want.
Biz has 19 different Vezina candidates he's got to choose from.
Sometimes they do, like, don't they do commissioner's choices too? Like out of the blue, they'll, a guy like of his stature will decide to just send him as a gesture of his career or whatever. But like Wood said, he might not even want to go at this point, although it is Vegas. So who wants to turn down a free Vegas trip?
He doesn't even eat dessert. He has like a cappuccino a year. He's not exactly like a Vegas guy.
He'd go out there, act like he was in The Hangover, like eating fucking ecstasy, running around the top of Caesar's Palace.
What?
Nothing. I'm fucking.
You're saying Chara is going to go to eat some disco biscuits at the All-Star game?
Like he
need like 3 of them to actually get fucked up.
Chara rides the Space Needle high on mushrooms. Story at 11.
Hey, speaking of mushrooms, wasn't there this story that just broke about Mark Messier? He had like a bad mushroom trip or a mushroom.
It was in his book.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So it was in his book, and then it was also in an article in Men's Health, Men's Journal, I think. And he mentioned that, it was it was early in his career, and he went away. RA, do you have the details of where he went to experience this?
Yeah, hold on, let me pull it up.
To RA's cabin.
Yeah.
I think it was an island. It was an island somewhere.
Yeah,
and they were staying.
It was in Men's Health. And what surprised me, I thought he was going to say this was like after I retired or like 6 months ago. This was like 1981. They were down in Barbados in the summertime, and there wasn't a lot of people there. And someone's like, hey, you want to try this tea out? And they, had the mushrooms. They made the tea out of it. And Messier tripped balls, basically. He said at first he was kind of nervous and didn't know what was going on, which is common if you don't know you're going to be drinking mushroom tea. But then he kind of found this level of consciousness where he got it, and he had this new outlook on life. But so I'm like, okay, so he did these in 81. So how many times did fucking Messier eat mushrooms over the next 20 years during his career? Because you don't eat mushrooms, have that experience, and then not take them again for 30 years. I thought it was. I thought it was pretty interesting.
He's getting 4 points at MSG, and they don't have a game for 3 days.
Just ripping the bong before move over Stevie Y. We got a new pothead in the league.
Mushroom tea by far. You trip the hardest on mushroom tea. It's not even.
I've never done mushroom tea. Have you, RA? I like the Choclairs when they mix them in the chocolate.
Oh,
I think I've told this story before. My first time ever taking them, I was at Bonnaroo, and I was with Lupul, O'Brien, and Upshaw. And they gave me a full one, and I guess I was only supposed to eat a quarter of it. And I ate a quarter of it, and then about 45 minutes later, I'm like, this shit doesn't do anything. So I ended up eating the rest of the thing. And then then I went to fucking Planet Zoltan. I didn't even get to see one of the better shows that night because I was tripping balls. I had to go back to the RV. I was sitting in the bedroom in the RV, and it's either I was like going zonky where I opened my eyes, but if I closed my eyes, it was like a music video in my brain.
You have a tolerance like a rhinoceros too. You need about 40 different things of whatever. I think to the normal humans too.
So I think what happened was, and RA, you might be able to attest to this, is sometimes when you take it and then somebody's like, oh, you took too much, like your anxiety spikes a little bit. And then once that happens, it's kind of just a runaway train. And I think when Loops was like, you ate the whole thing? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, geez. And then I was like,
yeah, that's why you need a good co-pilot, like someone who can like coach you along, who's been there, had a few trips, can kind of,
100% already.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal having somebody.
Yeah, my imaginary friend. He helped me out the whole night.
That's RA's pitch to Mess, to bring him around, to have him be his co-pilot.
Come on, Mess. We'll split a quarter and make a podcast.
So what did he say about the trip? Did it make him open up his eyes to more things? Like, what was his breakdown?
His quote was, "I learned that the mind is a muscle. You have to train it like you do all other muscles in pursuit of excellence."
Nice read, Biz. But yeah, it is. You got to build up your tolerance, Mess. We all do.
As for your answer, Biz, no, I never actually did the tea. I was down Jamaica. They were offering it somewhere, but I just went with the traditional way. And then saw funky things all over the place. But yeah, that was a pretty wild story. I wasn't expecting a Mark Messier mushroom story to come across the timeline this week. But either way, the psilocybin, it's getting approved in all kinds of cities. Biz, we've advocated the medicinal use for people with depression and all kinds of other issues. It certainly helps. And it's good that finally people open their minds to this, that there are other alternative remedies to help with people's depression or whatnot. So, all right, one last note before we go over to our interview with Keith Ballard. Of course, it's Minnesota related. They signed defenseman John Merrill to a 3-year, $3.6 million contract extension to shore up that back end. His team is on the upswing lately, so a little depth never hurts. And now we're going to send it to Keith Ballard. But first, we want to let you know that this interview is brought to you by Blue Nile. Whether you're ready to pop the question or celebrating your love this Valentine's Day, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile lets you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as setting style, and Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then build the perfect engagement ring. Each is one of a kind. And if you're having trouble choosing, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7 that are available via phone or chat to help you find the perfect gift at every budget. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Spittin Chiclets listeners get $50 off $500. This podcast exclusive is only good through Valentine's Day and includes engagement. So use the code Chiclets, that's code CHICLETS, plus every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Folks, this stuff is gorgeous. I got some stuff for my old lady. She loved it, and you'll be thrilled when you order yours. And now, enjoy Keith Ballard. Well, our next guest is this local lad from Baudette. He was an 11th overall pick by the Buffalo Sabres in the 2002 draft, then carved out a 600-plus game career as a stalwart defenseman for Phoenix, Florida, Vancouver, and, of course, here in Minnesota. Thanks a bunch for strolling over to see us. Keith Ballard, how you doing, my man?
Love it. Thanks, guys, for having me. This is amazing. It's an honor.
It's a long time coming, too.
Did you say a Star Wars guy?
I think he said a stalwart. But he's been on the Star Wars kick.
I thought you meant he was a Star Wars guy because he took out the fucking lightsaber and took Vokoun's head off. That's why I thought.
We're already into the Vokoun side.
We'll touch on that later, but 100% no Star Wars guy. I'm not into Star Wars.
Okay. Billy G won't hide it then.
That GIF is pretty good. Is it
GIF
or GIF?
Goodness.
Is it GIF or GIF?
I don't know. We're still not sure.
We're pro GIF.
Yeah, we're GIF guys.
Just learn it, know it, live it.
Well, yes, we can go into that one later.
I texted Donor. I said, we got Bally coming out. He played with him in Arizona. I said, what do I need to ask him about? He goes, the fact that he almost took his goalie's head off. And I didn't know. I was like, yeah, maybe we should wait. And I'm like, no, let's come in swinging. You don't want to talk about that?
Absolutely, I will. There's some layers to that onion too.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. We'll get into that when we get to Arizona. Then that's fair.
Okay,
that was Florida.
Oh, that was Florida. Jeez,
yes, that was Florida.
I forgot about that. So actually, Donor was teeing you up for even another spot for him. He's like, you got to ask him about his Florida slash.
Oh, okay. Shit,
that was Florida.
Oh, okay, my apologies. I
Florida,
watched
Atlanta, Tuesday night. Thank God there was nobody
7
there.
people there.
Yes.
Well, you and I go way back. I mean, you're at 82, but late 82, we played a lot together at USA and stuff. And it's great to finally catch up because I think a lot of people don't know your whole story, and I always knew how good of a player you were. So thanks for coming in.
Thanks. Hey, this is awesome. And you guys, this is super cool what you guys are doing, what you two have done post-career. Merles, I'm going to throw you in there. You three.
We have a sit-in for this interview. Merles.
Yes.
He's got one question cocked and loaded.
So I got the late call into this because I played a total of 3 games with Keith Ballard in Phoenix.
Yeah, but you played unbelievable.
Yeah, I got 8 minutes a game under Wayne Gretzky, most of it on the penalty kill. But
our penalty kill was great.
You were a great guy. I got there really nervous when you get called up. You don't really know any of the guys. You come over to me right away. Hey, I heard your calls, buddy. You're a college guy. You're with me. You took care of me on the road.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was a real pro.
It's you know what, going off that, and you mentioned Donor and coming up with guys like Donor, Derek Morris. I've heard you guys mention those guys.
Awesome.
It kind of, as a rookie, it molds you in the right direction, right? How are you going to treat the younger players? And that was so special to me as a young player. And I was still young when Merles came up, but as you get older, that's the right thing to do.
It's all you knew, really, in a sense.
Yeah.
That's what you learned.
Yep.
I know.
Yep, and I learned that in college. The older guys treated us, the right way, not as you freshman shitheads or anything like that. So you kind of build off that.
We'll get to the college, two of the best college teams ever. We'll get to that later. Merles was a part of that in a way, but I go back to the beginning. Well, you were there at least for it. You were at the game. But we'll go back to the beginning like we usually do. And from northern Minnesota, little town Baudette, right? So, I mean, I can't imagine growing up there, right? That's hockey heaven. There's outdoor rinks everywhere. And were you always a great player? Was it like something you took to right away? Who got you into the game? What was your beginning?
My uncle actually got me into the game. He grabbed me one day at Thanksgiving or something. We're at my grandma's house.
Everybody was arguing. He's like, hey, let's go outside.
He's like, I'm going to start picking you up for hockey practice.
How old are you at this, like 5 or whatever?
5.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, cool. And I just liked it. Northern Minnesota, from here, 300 plus miles, straight north, right in the top, right on the Ontario border. And I enjoyed it. I was lucky enough to have, from a town of 1,000 people.
That's how small it is.
Yep. A group of kids my age that also loved it. So we skated all the time. I mean, there was no secret. We just played. We had 10 kids on a team. Oh, you're on the squirt team? Okay, well, there you go. You get a blue helmet, red helmet, maroon helmet. Our colors are maroon and gold, by the way.
Oh, you didn't go to Minnesota.
So
already setting you up to go there.
But I mean, it was just a hodgepodge of kids, and we spent all of our free time skating. And we all loved it. We no coaches getting in the way, no parents getting in the way, and I see that now is kids, if they're not told what to do or where to go or what position they are, sometimes have a hard time figuring it out. Ours was just go out and figure it out.
Do it on your own.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I used to ride my snowmobile 12 miles to practice every day. And from Pee-wee's on. It was awesome.
I would say you're known as a great skater.
Yeah.
Is that from just spending a lot of time on the ponds and just doing it, figuring it out on your own, or was it a lot of the teaching, power skating, and all this?
No, I actually had this conversation with a buddy the other day. We were talking about kind of this same thing. I remember calling my dad going into my junior year of college, and I'm like, "Do you think like I could get a skating instructor for the summer?" So it wasn't until then, right? And now, like, if you're 9 years old and don't have one,
You're done.
yeah, someone's thinking you're behind. We just skated.
I know.
We went on the river. We went to the rink, and I was fortunate enough in a small town. You didn't have 300 teams.
There was always ice.
It was ice, and it was free. So we'd go skate. So you figure it out on your own.
Are you dreaming at that point of not the NHL, but just like the Gophers even, right? I feel like in the state of Minnesota, it wasn't even on your mind at that point?
Not one bit. Not one bit. You know what I wanted to do is play on the high school team. That's all I wanted to do as a kid. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And as I got a little bit older, I'm like, maybe I could do that. And then, things kind of progressed from there.
Did you make it freshman year?
I did.
Play all four, so you're varsity all 4 years?
I played 2 years and then went to Ann Arbor. Went to Michigan for a year.
Okay, NTDB.
Just because of, and I was a junior and everybody else was seniors the year I was there, so I couldn't do all the international tournaments.
That's when I came.
Yep.
So,
So I missed WIT by a year.
We were seniors together, but you were late 82, so you got kind of screwed. And because you couldn't play all the international tournaments, you went to play for Omaha.
Yep.
And lit it up that year, too. I mean, that was probably pretty fun playing in the USHL.
It was fun. I got to play for Mike Hastings, who I would call a mentor. Someone who you look back and you guys have seen or had people that really kind of made you the player you were and had a huge impact. And Mike's one of those guys, and we're still real close to this day. So having that year, he was a fucking asshole to me. And I hope he hears this, because I tell him all the time. No,
but he kind of made you.
But no, and he wasn't. He was hard, but it's what you needed at the right time, right? What 18-year-old kid isn't a complete shithead?
That's a great point.
And that was me.
Oh, man.
And going back, like, even before, when you left for USA, small town, you dreamt of playing for Lake of the Woods. Was it really hard to go to Ann Arbor?
Yeah, I think one of the hardest parts was probably because they had asked me the year before to go try out, and I wasn't ready. I wanted to play football another year. I love playing football, too.
What position?
Running back.
No shit.
Get out of here.
Eric Dickerson.
I mean, this is small town northern Minnesota. Nothing fancy, but I just loved it. And I just didn't feel like I'm ready to leave home yet. And thank goodness I didn't, because WIT, you saw it there. And anybody who's left home, you've seen people who leave home too early, trying to chase something when they're not ready. It doesn't work out that well.
No, it never does.
I was going to ask if maybe football taught you how to hit.
hip check?
Not the hip check. Your low hits were deadly. Was that where you learned how to do that?
No. I don't know really where I figured that out.
You flipped people constantly.
I think once I don't know. I know going into it was after the lockout year, after 04-05. I went into Phoenix's camp, and they got 7D on one-ways, and it was me and Zbynek McCulloch. I'm like, I don't want to play in the minors again.
Oh, you spent the lockout year there in Utah?
Yep. And it was good for me, learn how to be a little bit more of a pro, but we were dog shit. So, all I remember thinking in that training camp is, I do not want to go back to the minors. So what else can I do? Can I be physical? And I fought a bunch that year.
And you were offensive too, so that wasn't who you were really.
No, and I was always competitive, but how else can I add some value? What else can I do? Can I block more shots? Can I play more physical? Can I do, I don't know. I just didn't want to go back to the minors.
Yeah, I skipped ahead there. I didn't realize that all of a sudden, partway through your professional careers, when you added that to your bag.
Yeah, and I
remember you throwing them in college.
That's what I'm saying.
There was a few in there. There was a few. I got Eric Nystrom on a good one once.
Oh, that must have felt great.
Yes, he was so mad at me.
I want to ask, during the 2 years you did play high school hockey in Minnesota, did you appear in any of the infamous hair videos?
I don't even think YouTube existed.
No,
when you went to
we
high
did
school.
not have the hair videos back then.
Okay, all right.
And if I did, it probably would have been
40 years old.
It would have been with those stupid hydrogen peroxide, bleach.
Oh God, yeah.
You did the frosted tips and all
probably
that.
would. Oh yeah, I did in juniors too in Omaha.
Did you guys make it to the tournament at Excel?
No.
Just too small.
No, there's you got Warroad, you got East Grand Forks. There's very good programs in northern Minnesota. Roseau.
Is that
all these towns are foreign to you guys?
No, I know all about all those towns.
Is that the obsession though? Is as a kid growing up in Minnesota, you want to play high school hockey because you want to get to that stage? Like you said, all you were thinking about was high school hockey. Was it because you'd attended those events and you're like, these guys are basically playing in the NHL, but they're in high school hockey, and I could see that as that's achievable for me here.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to a championship game at the XL Center in St. Paul. For a high school championship game, there's 18,000 people there. As a high school kid, picture that. That might be your last ever game.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. And the cool part is you're doing it with all these kids that you started at age 5 with. And that's what I love about hockey in Minnesota.
Were you disappointed that you guys as a group didn't get to achieve that?
I mean, yes, but we weren't even close, so
didn't feel as bad.
No,
I appreciate your honesty.
It wasn't. It honestly wasn't something like, oh, we just missed out. It's like, hey, we didn't quite get out of the playing game.
And obviously, probably at that time, you were a top player on your high school team. Was there any thought to maybe go to a different high school where you could contribute for that team, or is that just as unloyal as it gets, and you would never even consider that?
It was discussed at one point, but not something I wanted to do.
Cool.
I would rather make a complete, which is why I went to Ann Arbor.
If I'm going to leave it, I'm not going to be playing here anymore.
I'm not going to go an hour away and play for that school.
So that was probably a tough decision, or an easier one, given that you knew that your career was advancing.
It was hard. It was hard because growing up, we just went out and played. It was park hockey. But we had a great solid foundation of how hard you work, details, no system stuff. It was, if there's one, we need two. Okay, third one stays high. I remember my first practice in Ann Arbor, and Jeff Jackson's drawing this drill. It's dump in, break out, regroup with the D, get back 3-on-2. Pretty basic drill, right? I looked at one of the D, and I said, what the fuck is a neutral zone regroup? I had no clue. I'd never heard the term in my life. I'm 17 years old at the time.
Because at Lake of the Woods are like, Ballard, just go end to end. There's no...
So the other D was like, oh, yeah, you just got to get it, and whoever's... I'm like, oh, so it's hockey. We convolute it sometimes, right? We get in the way.
So there were no other contenders, I'm assuming, college-wise, growing up around where you did. It was Minnesota or bust, no East Coast schools or anywhere else on your radar.
You didn't take advantage of the visits, is what he's asking.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
No, I was actually wanted to go to North Dakota for a while.
Okay.
Which is only 2.5 hours from where I grew up versus 6 from here. And it went there on my visit. It wasn't the right fit. Didn't feel like,
Didn't get laid. I'm just kidding, Ballard. I'm just kidding. I know we all know you got square wheels. My apologies.
I love it.
He's been married for like 36 years.
Oh, has he? Out of the
40 years
womb?
old, too.
Oh, nice.
Hey. Yeah, when you
Well,
know,
there can't
you know,
be many
boys.
girls in that town of 1,000, so it's
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of like where you grew up, not to go completely backwards, but we're going ice fishing tomorrow morning, and we asked you for a couple tips. You said, well, I actually grew up on what did your parents own? An ice fishing resort?
They've got a fishing resort in Lake of the Woods. Ballard's
Unreal.
Resort.
That was another thing that Donor wanted me to ask you about is
Yes.
the fake outdoors guy. That's
That's
No,
like
listen,
telling a guy you can't
I-
grill.
so-
Yeah,
a
it's
couple
just-
people said it to me, and I'm like,
Worse
"There's
is
no
worse.
way."
Bougie from Baudette?
Yeah, he's got the
Wow.
Gucci snowshoes.
Wow.
Really?
What do you say about that?
That is 100% false.
That's what I was like. Yeah, I think he's an outdoors
Donor.
guy. I think I saw him at
Donor
the
doesn't
outdoor
usually
network.
talk that shit though, like that, does he?
That-
Like,
Maybe I had the wrong guy. Maybe it was the wrong Donor I was talking to.
Wow.
that was Gretzky.
But you grew up on this like what?
Yeah. So I grew up. Parents owned a fishing resort, and they still do. My sister runs it up on Lake of the Woods, which, quite frankly, and not sounding like an idiot, but probably the best walleye lake in the Midwest,
Suck on
the
that,
U.S.
Donor.
side.
Really?
Yeah.
So you guys getting people to stay in there winter and summer, or is it more
Yeah.
just
Winter and summer. Yeah, they've got. They can sleep probably 180 people.
holy shit?
So
How
yeah,
do you-
it's really fun. It's a great, it's the top of Minnesota, right on the border. Great fishing, great walleye fishing.
I've never eaten walleye. I'm a huge seafood guy, being from Boston. But like, what's the best way to eat it?
Breaded, pan fried,
Okay.
or if you're not worried about your health, beer batter.
And that tastes way better.
Yes. In Florida? What's it? The grouper? Is that
Yeah,
the big
group, yeah.
So that's like Minnesota walleye would be our grouper.
Okay. All right.
Staple.
Like a white fish.
White
Okay.
flaky fish.
Ah,
Yep.
good stuff. All right.
So is that how you would spend most of your summers, just spending time in the outdoors? Like was summer training really a thing, or you just kind of just enjoy yourself?
Yeah, no, it was just being active. Being a kid, I played 100 sports. If in a small town, if you didn't play multiple sports, they wouldn't have teams. So I just played a bunch of sports, and it was fun because as soon as football season would end, hockey practice usually started the next day. So then I'm excited for hockey, and then it's baseball or golf.
Yeah, you're always looking forward to something after the wait. you know?
Exactly. And as I got older, I did some summer hockey. But, where I live now, summer hockey can be 5 minutes down the road, where as a kid, it's a 300-mile drive.
Yeah, there's no hockey in the northern Minnesota.
No, we didn't have ice.
Did you get a little bit homesick? I mean, I know it was a bit of a change of pace going to the program and maybe a little bit less laid back than the atmosphere here.
Yeah, I did. There was times, but there little hiccups here and there, but nothing crazy. I remember getting really upset about math one time.
Should have called me. I'm a math guy.
You're not the math guy.
No, I know. I know.
He listens.
So the next step was the University of Minnesota. I really wanted to talk about this. 2002 was my senior year, and that was your freshman year, and you probably were on – it's got to be one of the greatest college hockey teams of all time, and it just happened that Minnesota was hosting the Frozen Four that year. So give us a little bit about that. Who else was on that team? Because it was a wagon.
That was good. That, honestly, I walked right into something awesome. As I was telling you and Whit earlier, our left side defensemen were Jordan Leopold, Paul Martin, and myself.
Okay.
And you just
Decent.
walk into that as a freshman, and Paul was a sophomore. Jordan was a senior who had 20-plus goals that year, won the Hobie Baker. Johnny Pohl, I think, led the country in scoring that year. Jeff Tafe had 30-plus goals.
He's unbelievable.
There was so many guys, but the biggest thing was the culture that guys like Johnny and Jordan set as senior leaders. They weren't it wasn't, you're a freshman, just shut up and do what we say. They brought us in actually at the beginning of the year, and they're like, we need you guys. And You have to load the bus and pick up pucks and do all those things. But we need you guys to be comfortable because we're going to do something awesome.
They said that before.
Yep.
Well, that's funny. I was going to ask because both those guys easily could have turned pro, but they knew the Final Four was in Minnesota. That was 100%, I'm guessing, like part of like them being like, we're going back and we're winning this thing. So it was part of that going in. And then ironically enough, you guys win it. And Grant Patulny, I think, scored the OT winner. He wasn't even from Minnesota. The first non-play. Was it the first player to ever play for Minnesota not from the state?
The first, and I can't remember how many years.
Okay.
But, yeah. And Grant was, a sophomore at that time, but he was like 29 years old.
Walshy style.
Not really, but, yeah, he was an older, played a couple years of juniors. And, again, another great leader who was our captain. He was 3-year captain at Minnesota.
What was the after party? Like straight across the river with frat house, your hockey house?
Right to the bar.
The library?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's
the
right to the library.
Minnesota bar. I went there one night. I remember.
Obviously, you were 21, right?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
responsibly. I mean, you play with Tomas Vokoun too, man. I mean, an Austrian playing like college hockey, that's a rare thing.
Was he there the following year, or was he there? Okay, so
he came the next year. He was a freshman, I believe.
Yep, we had Thomas the next year, and what a treat!
Yeah,
it
sniper.
It was amazing. We used to call him Teen Wolf. When Teen Wolf would get mad and he would just dominate the basketball game, like someone would take the puck from Thomas, and it was game over. You're not touching that puck again.
I remember because Brian Yandel, one of my closest friends, was on UNH. I think you beat him in the finals or the semis, and Vanek put on a clinic.
Yeah,
that whole Frozen Four was the Thomas Vanek show.
Yeah. I think
it was amazing.
Was Sean Collins on that UNH team?
Yeah, he was. Yep. He was one of the best players in the country.
I don't know much about college hockey, but he said when Thomas Vanek turned it on, it was
not even close. I think he had 31 goals that year as a freshman.
And that's just unheard of in college hockey.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe Paul Correa and him. Well, and then Eichel now too. Eichel had a crazy freshman year.
Yeah, it's not overly common. No. No, Thomas was outstanding. He had 60-some points as a freshman.
So when the next year, like in college, so obviously you guys win it that first year. Like how many guys you lose, and then you guys are still able to repeat?
We lost our leading scorer, Johnny Pohl. We lost Leopold. We lost a ton of good seniors. Jeff Tafe signed early, ended up getting Thomas Vanek, and just kind of next guy up. Great leadership still with Paul Martin, Grant Patulny, those type of guys. Troy Riddle, who's Merles will know, like one of the most underrated college hockey players of all time.
Yeah, a little like just water bug flying around at all times.
Yeah.
Like other than the leadership, was there like one guy in particular that really took you under his wing when you got there to make you more comfortable in that step?
No, I think it was all by committee.
It was committee.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, I always liked when I first got there just watching Jordan and Paul because I knew how good they were. And I kind of want to be like those guys. So what do they do? How do they practice? That type of thing.
Just good habits.
Yep.
Nonstop, every day.
Yep.
Like, what persuaded you to go pro? Was it the
Want to take that one over? All right. Try it again.
What persuaded you to go pro? Was it the Yotes talking to you? Was it time? Like, did you have any consideration?
Yotes were desperate.
Graduating?
They needed something.
How did you end up Yotes? I thought you were drafted by the Islanders.
You drafted by Buffalo. What was that trade?
Yeah, there was I had a few pit stops before that. I went from Buffalo, got traded to Colorado, and then I got traded to Phoenix.
Were these at the draft? Like you were still?
I was traded at the draft, I want to say, or just after the draft at one point.
You're like calling
your... was a deadline trade, like and a prospect guy.
You're like, why do I keep getting traded? Like, what's going on right now? I haven't played yet.
I've won 2 national championships.
No I'm not sure what I've done
NHL
wrong.
Team to keep me, for fuck's sake.
I'm not sure what I've done wrong yet, but no, it worked out well. No, I think going to World Championships after my junior year of college, I went there and there was guys like Chris Drury, Mike Greer, those type of guys there. I played a bit. I played some games. I played very little. Some games I played more, whatever. But I felt like I'm not that far off. I can play this game at this speed. And the lockout was coming, so nobody knew what was going to happen with the entry-level deals and if we're going to get rolled back and any of that. So I thought I'd give it a run.
So I guess skipping over kind of an unmemorable year in Utah, right? You said the team was brutal. The next year you get to the NHL.
It was great there was memories. There were awesome guys there. A lot of AHL legends. Jared Scaldi, Terry Virtue.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Terry Virtue.
Terry Virtue. No, so I had a lot of really awesome experiences. Just not, you come from winning cultures and then that, and it's just like, get me out of here.
I got to get to the NHL.
I just wanted, I just felt like I need something different.
I got to bring it up now. So we're freshmen in college together. We're rookies in the NHL together. We pretty much followed the same path. And then I remember rookie year watching one of the greatest goals ever scored by Alexander Ovechkin. You were on the ice for that, weren't you?
No.
Oh, was that Paul Mara?
That was Paul Mara.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
God.
That was Boston's finest, Paul Mara.
That was Paulie. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Rick Nash, that one.
No,
I was on the ice for that one. That was me and Derek Morris.
Oh, no.
I knew it was the highlight reel you were a part of.
Oh, we had just tied it right before that goal, too.
That was next shift?
Yep.
So when you stepped in the league, was Wayne your first NHL head coach?
Yeah.
I mean, surreal. I guess go into it.
Tell him the story you just showed us of that picture.
It was, yes. But I'll touch on Biz real quick first. It took a long time to just get comfortable talking to him. I mean, it's hard enough as a rookie to talk to your coach, right? But then your coach is the greatest hockey player of all time. So it was always like Coach or Mr. Gretzky, or it took a couple years just to get over the fact that Wayne Gretzky was around every single day and he's coaching you. So, no, the picture I just showed Whit and Merles.
He's like, you're like, are we doing neutral zone transitions today? He's like, what the fuck is that?
No, Bally said that Wayne used to throw the whole gear on in practice.
No, I was just going back to how you guys went around the pond and you didn't really talk about the systems and the cliche words. And he
was. I'll say this: Wayne was unbelievable to me, and it was basically just go play, and guys like him, Donor, Derek Morris, who I remember my rookie year. If you get in trouble, we were partners, and I feel terrible for him for that. But he's like, if you get in trouble, throw it to my side. I'll take care of it. Just go play. And that's the kind of guy he was, right? And that's what you learn from as a young guy. It was pretty cool.
Keith Yandel still says, Derek Morris, I think he looks at him as a brother, and he's just somebody who's always looking out for everyone. And I still wonder why he punched my head in after that game.
Him and Whit got into it one game.
No, he just beat the shit out of me, but it's okay, Mo.
Tim Jackman's coming on here.
Oh,
too,
Jesus.
right?
No. There's about 40 people we could get on here.
I love Jack.
You played with Sides for a couple of years. Dennis Seidenberg.
Yes,
pals with him and all. He's a low key wild dude.
If I wouldn't wish this on anybody in this room, is eating a pregame meal with Dennis Seidenberg.
Oh, let's hear it.
Why, just mucking away?
No, he eats so slow. He chews everything 20 times.
Oh, he counts. He's a Paul Kariya count of the bites.
So you're like, Sides, we're carpooling together. Let's go.
I want a 3-hour nap here, Sides.
Yes.
Another character from those days, Joe Volkop. We were fortunate enough to interview him. Absolute beauty, eh?
Wonderful. I love Joe. I love Sides, too. Sides and I were really
We're just going to bring up every guy you played with, and you're just going to comment.
Yes.
Already's got every roster pulled up.
Jovo had, and I think you guys have mentioned it on here before, Jovo or somebody has just the funny comments that are, if you don't know Jovo, you're like, this guy's an asshole.
Yeah, cocky funny, I call it.
Yes, cocky funny.
Yeah, I used to ask him on the plane, like, "Oh, what kind of sweater is that? Expensive."
Yep.
Hey, you got change for a 20? That is change.
Yep, exactly.
Like every fucking rich guy line in the book. It was
exactly.
Like, he'd hit me with, I'd be on my heels.
Joe got me in Phoenix. So when I got called, I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to act like I'm a veteran. I went to back of the car, like play the cards. I'm going to drink the beers with the guys, and I'm playing with Jovo, and he lost a big pot to somebody, and he goes, hold on, and we're like, what is that? He goes, I just made that back.
Yeah, couple deep breaths.
Oh my God!
I've heard. We've heard them all, folks. We've heard them all.
Yep.
But were you there? I think somebody just posted the picture. And RA, I think you might have been bringing it up with Nickelback.
So I brought this up. So I was scrolling through Twitter today, and I see this picture. I'm like, no shit. I remember this day to a T. This is pregame skate, and I'm looking for my stick. I'm a rookie. Can't find my stick. Chad Kroger's got it. If you zoom in
today on the pic, it's down.
I zoomed in on the picture. It's my stick.
Day of a game.
He's using it as a tripod in the morning skate. That's my game stick. I wanted to use it in the morning.
Hey, so apparently there's a backstory. Like they don't. Chad Kroger doesn't know exactly when he's overstayed his welcome, to where they went on before pregame skate, and then pregame skate was supposed to start at, let's say, 10:15, 10:30, and they had at some point 15 minutes after practice was supposed to start basically tell him, hey, you gotta get the fuck off the ice.
Well, like they thought they were going to chill for the whole practice.
They thought they were just going to join in pregame skate.
They were out there when we were out there. Yeah,
are you shitting me? Actually,
was Wayne getting pissed?
To be honest, I was. It was all a blur, right? You're a rookie. Like, had I been a 30-year-old at the time, I probably would have get the.
But you're thinking, I'm going to send a carrier pigeon back home to let the boys know that Chad Kroger from Nickelback was using my stick in pregame skate.
Yes, it was. It was so. I'm looking around the locker room for it. I'm in the stick room. I just taped it. Where is it? Sure enough, he's got it out there. It was I'd say my stick, but my whole rookie year, my stick said Ruchin on him. Steve Ruchin played for the Rangers. So apparently, we had the same pattern, so I just got his sticks.
Well, that's nice.
Did you like the change of scenery going from Phoenix to Florida? I mean, I know at the time Florida still, I guess, not the biggest draw, but did you just like getting out of Phoenix, I guess?
I loved
Phoenix.
Time. You know what? I loved Phoenix. I loved being in Phoenix. It's probably, as a lot of players go through, right? That first trade.
It's shocking. Well, you've been traded 9 times
fourth.
in college.
Yeah, exactly.
Or your fourth.
Exactly.
Depending on who you ask.
That was my fourth trade.
But first, while playing pro, I was just busting your balls.
No,
yeah,
yes.
You show up to the rink and they're like, "Hey, fucking somebody wants to see you."
Was it mid-season or
no? It was summer.
Oh, okay. It made it a little easier, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So I was on the golf course, draft time, and got traded to Vancouver. Same thing, golf course, draft time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So don't golf over draft day, guys who are still playing.
Or shut your phone off.
Yes, exactly. No, Florida was good. It was the shock of kind of settled in Phoenix, really loved the group there, really loved everybody in the organization, and then it's something new.
And you were playing good, and like that was not a trade where we're disappointed in him, right?
No, I thought I was playing good.
Well.
Thought I was playing good.
Just maybe them making a change. What was the trade?
It was me and Nick Boynton for Olli Jokinen and maybe a draft pick. I don't know.
From what I hear, when Wayne was coach with Phoenix, they were trying to get in the playoffs, and he really liked veterans. So they were almost that team that they were constantly on that bubble, but never made playoffs. So they never got a good pick in order to keep getting better. Is that that's kind of the feeling, or at least what I've heard in the past?
Yeah, I think part of it, there was, there was such a turnover every year, right? I mean, the number of guys, Brett Hull, Mike Ricci, Owen Nolan, Curtis Joseph.
All kind of at the end, they're bringing them in.
Yep. There were so many guys like that, which are all awesome guys, and it was super fun to have that experience of, hanging out with Brett Hull in training camp and going for beers with him.
Listen to him complain.
Oh, my God. The funniest stories.
Best complainer ever, right?
So good. So good. But then watching him take one-timers after practice and just wiring them. It was amazing.
Yeah, that trade was, let's see, Johan Boyden for Ole Jokinen. Pretty good deal there for those guys. Actually, I'm trying to find. Oh, hold on. Give me take two. I lost my spot here. I had a question.
No, you're good.
No. What the fuck is it?
Okay, you're not good.
No, I am. Oh, no. Actually, no. Here it is. It was a coach who now is pretty much a mainstay in the NHL. You had him pretty early in his career. Pete DeBoer. When you had him, did you realize this guy's built to last, could be a potential Hall of Fame coach?
Pete's a great coach. Pete and I got to Florida the same year. I liked Pete. He was straightforward. If you played well, he played you. I think he's evolved a lot as a coach, which everybody does, right?
Look, was pretty hard on guys then, right? At times.
Yeah, I think, that's fair to say. Probably more of a junior hockey mentality.
Yeah.
As far as...
Well, having just come from there, though, that's kind of...
exactly. And I don't fault anyone for that. And I'd say this all day is, especially my second year in Florida, we lost Ballmeister that year.
Yep.
If I was playing well, Pete's playing the heck out of me. If I played like crap, he's probably letting me have it. And which was perfect. That's life, right? And he knew I could take a little bit of yelling, so he'd probably yell at me a little bit when he's yelling at the group.
You think that you're somebody who getting yelled at, like it almost fired you up? Like you'd play better after? I know myself personally, Terry would give it to me, but I'd always play better after. It was like
I didn't mind that, and I never minded that with coaches being straightforward. Because if you as a player, you want to be, where do I stand? What do you want from me? And then I'll go do it. Give me a role. And I always liked that. And at least there was nothing phony about it. It was, this is what I think about you. This is what I think about your game. If you want something different, go change it.
You called the Vokoun incident like onions, a lot of layers. Like, is this something? Yes. Was that just a lot of frustration that ended up mounting, and it was like worst possible case scenario?
Biz, I'll say this to the listeners: pause right now, YouTube this incident, watch it, and now you can hear the layers to it. Right? Everyone listening right now who hasn't seen this, please check it out.
Well, I've seen the clip when when they score the goal, and then obviously you turn around. But what did you mean by there's a lot to talk about it?
So there's a little bit of a backstory.
Okay, let's go, baby. Hey!
I'm going to preface this with, and Grinelli, please do not cut this out.
No, we never.
This is not in any way, shape, or form putting any bit of blame on anyone else.
Okay, but...
Nope, not one bit. But just so you can get where my mindset was.
Let's go. I'm going to close my eyes for this.
All right. Unzip your shirt a little bit.
This could be this could be on the Calm app.
I'm going to show you my stomach.
We're in Atlanta at the Ritz, and day before the game, and Pete pulls. We're all going to a movie. Pete pulls me in the lobby, and we go back and forth. Right, we're having basically what turns into a big fuck you contest.
Nice.
He's not happy with your play.
Nope. I threw a pizza to Phil Kessel the night before. Not good. I understand that. It's like, you don't even care. I'm like, I don't know about that.
I disagree with you with that.
That's kind of what got me through my career is I'm 5'10", not a big guy. Competitiveness is something I kind of got me here. Whatever, we go through that. So, but it's the first time I've ever been rattled by a coach. And I was rattled. It's not Pete's fault. He's trying to push buttons. So we go.
Do you remember the movie you saw?
What's that?
You going to a movie. Do you remember the movie you were going to see?
Not one bit. I was rattled.
Yeah, you were too rattled.
And the guys were just like, what's wrong with you?
I just got my asshole ripped out in the
like,
lobby of the West.
It was one of those jerk theaters.
And I didn't even mind the back and forth. But so next day, I'm still rattled. Fast forward that night, Kovalchuk's. And we got to play. Me and Jordan Leopold got to play against Kovalchuk all night. I'm like, sweet, this will be fun. Sneaks behind us, breakaway, whatever. Long story short, Vokoun's ear gets cut. Not bad, but I had no. It was Will Ferrell in the debate. What's that movie?
You blacked out.
Old school.
Yes. I'm like,
The wires
so I skated back to the bench.
Without even saying anything to Vokoun?
I had no clue what happened.
Oh, that makes it
I
look
skated
so much worse.
I skated to the bench, and I'm looking at, I think it was Brian Allen. I'm like, and the trainer's running, and I'm like, what happened?
You just killed the goalie, Keith.
What happened? What happened to him?
He goes, you hit him. Because I believe in the conversation I had with Pete, he's like, you get scored on, and you just line back up, or you come back to the bench. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Break my stick? He goes, well, that would show you.
The goalie.
He goes, that would show you cared. I'm like,
what?
And that's not. I'm competitive, like on the ice, but like it's one of those deals, right? That's
Clip it, Grinelli. Pete DeBoer is to blame for Vokoun.
Not one bit.
What do you mean? You just told me that he said he wanted you to show it, and then you did it. I think that he's part to blame.
I don't think he meant hit my goalie in the head.
But Vokoun also, he reacted like he could be dead. That made it.
Well, I think they made him stay down. That's what Vokey said to me. He cut his ear. That's all that happened.
Well, no, you cut his ear.
Well, he cut his ear. Should have had a better helmet.
Pete DeBoer cut his ear.
No,
okay, let's get that straight.
The best part was 2 days later, going to pick up Leopold and Brian Allen. We all lived in the same neighborhood, and there's Vokey. And first off, him and I sat together, and I'm miserable on this flight, miserable the rest of the game. I got tears in my eyes half the game, thinking I killed the guy. What happened to my teammate and my friend? And so I go to pick up those two. There's Vokey, lawn chair in his driveway, cooler of beers. Just sitting there, he's like, have fun at the game tonight, boys.
He was loving it.
Oh,
you gave him a 2-game sabbatical.
Exactly.
Stitches in his ear.
Yep, he had like 6 stitches in the back of his ear.
So did this make like the not top plays? Like, how long in the dressing room was this like just being talked about? And you guys were actually joking about it.
Did the coaches give you shit too? I mean, was it?
No.
They must have known you felt horrible.
Yes, they were awesome. They were awesome. Next night we play Colorado. We get to overtime, and I jump up in the play, get the puck wide, and I try to beat, I think it was Brett Clark, the D in Colorado. Go to the net, get my skates knocked out right as I'm cutting to the net, old school Glenn Anderson style. Steamroll Craig Anderson. Out cold.
Killing goalies.
Yes. Oh, it was awful. It was awful. That's 2 games in a row. Oh, it's terrible.
Oh,
like not. Oh,
yeah, I don't need this on my conscience.
What a road
right
trip.
yes.
DeBoer owns you. You kill Vokoun and then ruin Anderson.
No, but I will say this about Pete. I think he's an awesome coach.
Yeah.
And I really did appreciate him pushing.
Yeah.
I think he was awesome. And I say that because in today's climate, everyone gets offended, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, someone said you shouldn't do this or, was hard on you.
I say it all the time. My best coach was the hardest coach on me.
100%.
Just, yeah.
I think it was great.
Accountability. Taught
Absolutely.
me accountability. And, as much as I maybe didn't like it at the time, it's, I look back to it nonstop.
You look back and you're like, yeah, this is what I needed.
Yeah.
That's you.
No, you go ahead, bud.
All right, so summer 2010, you get traded to Vancouver. Is that a trade you wanted to happen? Did you facilitate it? Did it surprise you? What happened there?
Did not facilitate, no. Okay with it, yes. Not okay. Yes, I was. Yes, it was welcomed.
Going to a crazy market, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like hockey.
It was so different, right? Like the first 5 years are in non-playoff teams. And it just got to be a point where you're kind of a product of the environment, which I look back on that and think I wish I would have done more to help it be different. But sometimes there's only so much you can do. Vancouver was an amazing experience, team-wise. Personally, different. It was just hockey-wise. But I loved it. I love the city.
And the way you skated, like, it could have been a really long career, and I know concussions ultimately was the end. Like, at this point, had you already had a couple? And I'm talking ones that were actually like written down? Like I'm sure you had some that were never mentioned, but had you already started struggling with this, or was that a little bit later on?
No, I hadn't had any. I had one in Omaha.
So it's been quite a while.
Yep. I had one in Omaha. I had, when I got traded to Vancouver, that was my second hip surgery that summer.
Labrums?
I had labrum after my rookie year, and then I fractured my hip socket in February, my last year in Florida. And it was just bothering me. No one knew. So I went to Vail at the end of the season to get it checked out. And he's like, "You're having surgery at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning."
You're like, "Whoa, I just wanted a second opinion."
Yeah, I literally wanted to get a checkup. I'm like,
I was coming from the après-ski here, man. What the fuck's going on?
So you played the whole March and April of...
I played February, March, and April with, fractured hip socket.
Jesus.
So that kind of made the transition to Vancouver hard.
Yeah.
Because I was not healthy at all. And you go back to the skating, it was not even close to the same. And you went through it with your ankle.
It's the worst feeling in the world.
You know what you want to do, but you can't do it. It's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, it fucks with your head a little bit.
Yep.
The injuries, yeah. And then all of a sudden you start overcompensating, and then other things start going. And that was kind of like the start to the end, so to speak.
Yep, exactly. And a bunch of injuries that year. I think I had MCL and can't remember what else.
When did you sign the big ticket? Who was that with?
Oh, that was right after you did yours.
Yeah, we were always neck and neck.
Yes.
You probably saw mine. You're like, you got that? What the fuck?
It went from thanks Sid to thanks Whit.
Yep, that was right after you had yours with 59 points, and I think I had like 20. Got a little more than him, too.
No way. Get the fuck out of here, did you?
Because you were more valuable, you sicko.
Yeah. You mean you actually played in your own end?
He was physical.
Wait a minute. You
hit people?
Wait a minute. You entered your own zone?
No, the rink. He didn't play on a circular rink with no corners. He actually had a rectangle one that everyone else dealt with.
Yeah. That's too good.
Wow, I didn't know that was right when I signed mine. I guess we were all the same deal.
6 years, 19.
Let me ask you that. I like to talk to all the guys who sign big deals because I never got one. Like, the day you get the call and the fact that you're going to make this much money moving forward playing hockey, describe the day. Can you remember it like it was yesterday?
Yeah, I was. It started over when I was in Cabo for my wedding.
Get out of here. Wedding weekend?
Yeah, so I'm with my agent, on the phone with him, Ben Hankinson, who's local guy here and the best agent in the world.
The Hamburglar?
No, and he's telling me, like, Florida's offering this, they're offering that. I'm like, okay, what do you, like, you just decide. What do we do? And it just kept kind of growing a little bit. And we kept going and going. And long story short, they signed me. And bad news is no trade didn't kick in. So I didn't have any control. So they traded me to Vancouver, which was good. But ideally, when you have a no trade, you want to have a little control over it too.
Yeah, when I got my deal, it was the first 3 years was, you could be traded. The last 3, no trade. I'm like, all right, great. Thinking like, I got the first 3 years locked in here. Little I know Letang and Goligoski come and just boot my ass out. I was like, shit, that no trade did absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. And Goose is still flying around out there.
I know. It's fucking
I know.
How good is he?
So Eddie. Smart, dude. Great guy. Like just poised. He's a guy that when I first met him, it's like this could be a 16-year NHL player. Like it was just very easy for him.
He's so calm too. I think that plays a factor in it, and
calm,
just like he just slows the game down. He knows exactly what to do in every situation, and if anything, he's one of those guys that I feel like he's probably still playing some of his best hockey right now.
I bet you he's super energetic in terms of. Arizona was tough. Now he's on a good team. That just lifts you up.
But I'll say this, even though Arizona was bad, like every night he would bring it. He would block shots. He just steady Eddie. And I have a crazy amount of respect for him and how his career has gone. And he's and the way he was able to transform, because like when we joke around about it, but I think that they saw, like, at least we got Letang and then also now Goose from the back end who can provide offense. He's completely kind of transformed his game in a sense of he's not a liability defensively. He fucking gets it done. Bit. He kills penalties. He's reliable with the puck, and he can eat up 22 minutes. It's fascinating.
His skating, his positioning, he's like Jared Spurgeon. Same thing.
And they play together.
Now.
Exactly.
When you were in Vancouver, could you tell the Sedins apart?
It took a bit. I would wait for them to get into the change room to put their sneakers on.
Look at their
we had the numbers on the back. And so
he would label him with a Sharpie when he would get to the room. He'd just like give him a cross on the arm.
No, they had the numbers on the back, but now I can. Yes, it took me probably 6 months. I'll say this: two of the best people in the world.
Yeah, they seem to be very low-key guys. We've had people talk about them before, but they don't seem to say a lot about them. But everybody who likes them, loves them a ton. They seem to be generally good people.
Awesome people. I know you guys got a big Boston following and the 2011 mishap.
I wasn't going to go there, Keith, but...
No, we can go there. No topics. I mean, we already talked about slashing my goalie in the head.
You thought going back to Boston, we got this series. I know you did. 2-0, we just spanked them twice.
Yeah, probably reffing or something. Can we blame reffing, climate, barometric pressure? I don't know. No, it was a weird series. But when people talk about them being soft, and I hate that label for the Sedins, they're so tough. Because they compete every night and they get the shit beat out of them. And they don't complain one bit. They go over and over and over again. It was two of the best leaders, right? With Shane Doan that I've ever played with.
I would say that I think at one point they will be the first combo GM. I think they'll be the GM of a team together at one point.
Well, if it happens, it'd probably be for sure Vancouver. That's cool.
I think they're working their way up in Vancouver.
Is that like a hot take? Yeah. Is that a what do you call that?
I don't think if it happened, it would be that surprising. Like Billy Guerin said, he worked his way up. He saw every part of Pittsburgh, and they're doing that in Vancouver. They're helping out with everything, and I think at one point they're going to be a duo GM.
Isn't that position open right now?
Yeah, but I already read they're doing it slowly.
I heard they were going to pick one, but they couldn't tell them apart.
What about another guy I like asking about is go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I just wanted to touch on that whole run and maybe that series in particular. Was that the funnest hockey you've ever gotten to play in your entire life?
It was cool because that year was the first year I ever played in the playoffs. It's my 6th year in the NHL and first time I ever played in the playoffs. And I remember game 1 against Chicago. Thinking, holy shit, this is fast.
Oh, my goodness.
It was night and day different from every other NHL game I had ever played before.
And you were playing against those youngs. Like Kane and Taves had just entered the league. They
Cup champs.
They were...
They ended up winning it. What? They weren't the Cup champs the year before, were they?
They were, right?
Oh, really? Okay, my apologies. I thought it was a year after they finally won it.
No, and there was a big Vancouver-Chicago rivalry.
The hair pulling.
Yes. There was a good battle. But it was so fun, just getting that experience and realizing the importance of every play. The whole deal was great. You get power play kind of won us against the series against San Jose. You get guys like any different Rafi Torres, Manny Malhotra stepping up. And the importance of how good they were. You've got your staples, right? The Sedins and Edler, Ehrhoff, Bieksa, Hamhuis, those guys. And then you see the other side of it too, right? Where Dan Hamhuis gets hurt, which I think has hurt us badly. He was so solid, so good. It was super fun to be a part of.
You win the national title at home. And then you have the complete opposite in losing Game 7 in Van. And after that game, what did you do? Do you remember it? Must have just been heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to make my way home.
Yeah,
The 4 minutes it was.
Fires everywhere.
Oh, it was the biggest roundabout way to get home because all the crap that was going on, which is too bad. But no, it was.
Did guys hang out after though, or did everyone kind of?
Yeah, no, we all hung out. We all hung out. I remember losing the next year to LA.
Yeah, first round.
Yes, they were the 8 seed. I think they beat us in 2 games.
They beat us that year too, brother. They beat us that year.
They trucked everyone.
Oh my gosh,
they were wagging.
You couldn't get within 12 feet of Jonathan Quick.
Well, you win. You win the President's Trophy. You're like kind of a tough matchup. We get these guys first round.
Yes, and they got in the last day of the season. But one of the guys said after we were having beers in the trainer's room after the game when we lost Game 5, like, this feels way better than losing last year. At least, like, if we're gonna lose, we're done now.
I would ask, like, what was the feeling going into the Garden Game 6? Like you said, you had a 3-2 lead, feeling good, but you had gotten your asses kicked the first 2 games. Like, is the team like overconfident? What's the thought process with the team there?
No, so that's the cool thing about that team. There was no one ever got excited about winning. I shouldn't say excited. No one felt like there was never the loud music and a party after a win. And there was never a big low after a loss. It was, we know what we need to do. We know what we have. Let's go do it.
I think we had Biex on, and he said before Game 7, he just felt that there was a different aura, that for whatever reason he felt that there was more pressure on them to win. Or you guys, excuse me, I'm butchering this whole fucking thing. But he just basically said that he just didn't have a great feeling in his gut. Did you have that same feeling?
I was watching Game 7 from the Players Lounge on TV.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, I want to ask you about the
health bomb.
Yes.
Hey, it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, I had my guy.
I had my guy. The Burrows bite. Now, obviously, you guys are on the same league, and it's something that typically doesn't happen. And were guys like kind of like privately like, man, what the fuck, bit a guy, especially a guy like the stature of Bergeron, like, or did you just like, fuck it, it's a Stanley Cup, do what you got to do?
Yeah, I mean, didn't Brad Marchand just lick someone's face?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, licking and biting is 2 different things. Just ask a woman.
No, I know. I'll say this about Alex Burrows. When I was in Phoenix in Florida, every time I played against him, I absolutely hated the guy. When I was his teammate, I absolutely loved him.
Yeah.
He was a huge part of the culture that we had there. Remember one day, January, February, the dog days, right? And I'm like, shit, I don't feel like working out after practice. He goes, let's go. We need this at the end of the season. It'll pay off. And he, just that mentality. He was that way every day. Very smart hockey player. Sharp teeth, too.
There was no mistake that he ended up having the success he did. Like, the work ethic was no doubt part of it.
Everyone credits all that to the Sedins. He's a smart hockey player. Yeah. Very smart hockey player.
He started in the East Coast League, and then he worked his way up, and then AHL, and he wasn't like lighting up the AHL. He just played his role, and and then he got his chance and took all of it.
And it's not that easy. I shouldn't say it like I know this, but it's not that easy to be hated by everyone. Like, to be always the most despised guy. That's like, that gets old, I think, after a while, and he didn't care.
No, absolutely. And he did that, but also added a lot of offensive value as he kind of got more established in the league.
So after Vancouver, you end up coming back to Minnesota, and your wife's from Medina. It's like, it must have been really special to come back here and probably prepare to play a lot longer before the head injuries.
Yeah, it was awesome. Loved it. I would have hated it, I think, early in my career versus being 30 plus with kids. Loved having the ability for all of my family to come watch when they wanted to, or, parents, grandparents, whoever it was, aunts, uncles, friends, all that, and just having that experience.
The head injury stuff, like, I've had concussions before, but they've never been really lingering. Like, can you describe the effects and like what it had on your everyday life?
It sucked, to be very honest. probably took. It was about a year when I started seeing a different doctor, and it was a lot with my eyes, a lot with my neck. And I saw a doctor for, I think, 7 months, 3 days a week, about 2 hours a day, and it was night and day difference. And I haven't had any effects since.
Obviously, like massage. You said the neck and the eye stuff. Is it like resetting the brain with all this new wave of technology?
So I would do different activities, whether it be balance and doing a cognitive activity. One thing we would do is these goofy glasses on and put cribbage pegs in the holes. Right, you got to go all the left. And then next time, all the right ones. And then every other.
And it's not that easy at the beginning.
It's not that. No, it's not.
The last one you mentioned was the Matt Martin hit. You wake up in the hospital, right? I mean,
yeah. I was awake in the ambulance at the X after a bit, after I kind of waddled my way off the ice. And
yeah, you still got up, huh?
Yeah, apparently I threw a tantrum. And I was screaming at the trainers, I'm not getting on a stretcher. But they got me off safely.
And at that time, like the next year, you're saying, well, you told me that's when you knew it, that I'm done. And not only are you done like kind of in this brutal way. It's so shocking and surprising, but you got kids at home. Like before you saw that new doctor, it must have been pretty hard for a little while.
Yeah, it was. I think I got used to the new normal, which looking back, I wish I would have probably done something earlier. But you get used to, as I've learned, people get used to, all right, I don't feel that great today, or all right, I've got headaches, or all of those symptoms. And you get used to that's your normal. And once I figured out what my normal feels like, then it was a night and day. It was so much better for me.
I wasn't even close.
Yeah, and then
I'm like, I was at 50%. Now I'm here.
Was that when you realized like it's not worth going back to that? I'm healthy now, and it's time to hang them up.
No, I was very comfortable. I mean, I was very comfortable being done. I never, ever, ever expected to play in the NHL, or quite frankly, even dreamt of playing the NHL. And that was my third one in 13 months. When it was over, the last one, I'm like, I'm going to be done. It was getting harder too, as you guys have gone through, all the stuff you have to do, which makes me admire all these guys who keep playing and keep playing.
It's crazy.
All the stuff you have to do to prepare, that was getting harder for me. And I used to love all that stuff. And I'm like, it's time. Yeah. I'm done. I got kids. I got family. I want to stick around here for a while and remember their names.
Yeah, exactly.
And in post-career, I mean, right now you got, I think you said 11-year-old, 8-year-old, 5-year-old. You're coaching hockey. You're running like a dyna. It must be pretty cool. You're still in the game. You see the passion with the kids. And you see, as we said before, how good these kids are now.
It's fun. Yeah, I help out with my middle guys, Mite team. I got my daughter's 12U team. Little Mite board action.
You teaching the hip check?
Yes.
No, there's no hitting anymore.
Oh yeah,
teach him what my Bantam coach told me. Anybody gets near you, cross check him in the throat as hard as you can. I don't know if we can do that anymore, but he's an old school guy.
That's Baudette.
Yes.
Do you watch a lot of NHL currently, like night to night, or just here and there, whenever you can?
Here and there.
Yeah.
Here and there, yeah.
Are you a Wild guy? A Wild fan?
I just
whoever.
Whatever's on.
Okay.
Whatever's on, yeah. I like watching it. I'm getting to the point where I don't have that many buddies left playing.
Right, yeah.
But I like watching my buddies.
Yeah.
You know, if the Islanders are on and, you know, Brock Nelson and Anders Lee are playing, or, you know, different teams, right?
You got to start gambling then.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Don't get me started.
Be a nice account to have.
Well,
we're gonna get involved with a unit shaming club. I bet $50, $100 a game. These guys are big dogs.
But we don't shame people online.
I don't.
You could join the unit shaming.
I should.
So if I just give you my credit card, like, can you guys set it up?
Yeah, we'll set it up.
RA will take care of it.
You got Venmo. I can take care of you.
We'll put in $100,000. It'll be gone soon.
RA's got the square. He brings it around. You can just swipe on his phone.
By the way, guess who's back? 9-3 Florida beating Tampa. I gave that over out in the Cowboy. 9-3. And I gave out Nashville Columbus.
Oh my God.
3-3 after 3.
What's the Nashville Columbus score?
3-3 after 3.
Oh,
so that's the over. There we go.
Baby.
Valley's good luck.
Let's go. Yes, we got
Wait,
I got one more for you.
I also have one more.
Have you seen the movie Fargo?
Yeah.
How do locals feel about that? About the best picture? Well, it did win best picture, but it should have.
I love your movie reference because I do listen to the podcast.
I
know you're a movie guy.
He's a movie master.
That means more than you know.
I'm surprised RA's still awake.
Dark movie. Very dark movie. The accents, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Do I sound like that?
Yeah, a little. You're like 80% of that.
But I think they exaggerated for the movie.
It's very exaggerated. Yeah.
But, like, people, is there a sense of pride about it? Because it's Fargo and they talk about Brainerd, or is it like, do they think it's derisive toward them? Because I think
Fargo is in North Dakota.
Right. Well, that's the irony of the movie. Is they don't? That's the irony of the movie. It's all in Minnesota, and they named it Fargo, being the Cullens. But I think at the same time, like, it shows them as pretty kind and decent people for the most part.
Other than killing and chopping up bodies.
That was only Jerry
chopping
Lindergaard.
Off goalies' heads
I haven't
with
seen it.
sticks.
Don't
I can't believe this guy.
No, I got to watch it.
I mean, at one point, if you're going to use a wood chipper, don't do it over ice and snow. Like, that's
too much.
You're
just spraying DNA everywhere right there. That was a bad
giveaway.
call.
Okay, so I always ask this as like a last question. Is there anything that you thought we were going to ask you that we didn't, that you wanted to tell, like a story that you can remember from your playing days? Is there one that's like a famous one that you usually like to tell? And if not, no worries. We just end the podcast. No fucking pressure, buddy.
I don't think so.
I put him on his heels, just like McDavid.
Keep
the fucking change, folks. I asked it.
Speaking to him, I'm so glad, and you will echo this. How glad are you that you're not playing?
So you obviously
I would never have been on the ice against him, but
neither.
it could have got ugly if I got caught out there for some reason. It's a joke.
Neutral zone turnover, bad gap.
I just changed.
See you later.
See ya.
The best was when no, that was McKinnon. I'm sorry, but Petro this year in Vegas or last year, and he pivots and McKinnon.
That was at the outdoor game.
Fuck.
Outdoor game.
Oh shit.
Let's hope we see another one of those. This one.
The game is so good.
It's good.
It is.
It is so fast. It's so good. I just hope it's still like when we started, where you still have those older guys kind of taking young guys under their wing.
Yep.
I feel like now it's.
The young guys are taking the older guys under their wing.
Well, let's get on the bus after the road game and stare at our phones and check Twitter mentions and all that crap.
Oh shit!
Versus
you're getting a little personal now.
Exactly.
What seat has the beers?
That's literally what I used to do.
Yeah, and the coughs over the open can.
Yes.
Collective skill has never been better.
No, you need a towel.
Yeah. Oh, that's the.
Is that the number one thing you're telling these new kids? Is that it's like fuck off with the phones, like enjoy each other, enjoy the moment, and ignore the technology and kind of just embrace the journey as far as the hockey's concerned?
I'd say the best part about playing is the relationships. Take the drive from Colorado from the rink to the airport. It's 45 minutes, right? Post game, sit back with your teammates. If you have beer, have beer. If not, no big deal. But talk to them. Get to know them. Get to know about their kids. Get to know what's going on. Bitch about the coach if you want. Just don't get caught on cell phone video. Those guys not allowed.
Or an Uber driver.
Yeah.
Well, Bally, I mean, we really appreciate this. It was a long time coming, and as somebody who kind of competed and played with you, it was really fun to kind of catch up. An amazing career.
This was awesome. Can I add one more thing, Whit?
Yes.
When we brought up Vancouver for a bit, when you were in Edmonton, Alain Vigneault, this is word for word, very close. Every bit of offense runs through number 6. We need to be tough on 6, especially through the neutral zone.
Got the fucking pregame mention.
I gotta give you.
Dinner's on Wit tonight.
Hey, dinner's on me, and no need for Roman swipes right now. I'm hard as a rock.
I had to give you that shout out.
You know what? I actually I think that was during the good year, and Shane O'Brien mentioned one time. He's like, "Dude, they pumped your tire in pregame media." I'm like, "Holy shit, Obi!" I still was -3 that night.
Any mention of me?
Like, keep Biz on the ice. Nobody fight him.
No, you tried to run me one time, though.
Yeah. Of course he
Thank
did.
God I got out of the way.
No mention, though? No pregame mention? Okay, cool. We're getting on this.
Hey, Bals, check out your parents' fishing resort name.
BallardsResort.com.
BallardResort.com. If you love fishing, winter or summer, northern Minnesota is where it's at. Keith Ballard, amazing guy, great career. Thank you.
We're coming back.
Big thanks to Keith Ballard for joining us. Had a lot of fun with those mini guys. We had a great time over at Billy Sushi's.
A little fun
as well.
You had a little fun?
I had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
An extra lot of fun.
Extra lot of
the
fun.
Best part about that interview is followed up by a trip to Billy Sushi's where RA did a margarita, a beer, a glass of wine, sake, and
my sake.
And
your sake.
Don't forget, I got a mid-meal delivery outside as well from.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, that's what that's what really put you over the edge, eh? No wonder you were,
by.
No wonder you the floor. Yeah, the florist is right. You fucking idiot. Oh my god, that is so funny.
Yeah, we had fun, and hopefully you had fun listening to the interview. And that interview was also brought to you by our friends over at Manscaped. Cheers to 2022 and resolutions you can actually keep. How about having clean and shiny balls all year round? You know. It's new year, new me with the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming. This year, take your package to the next level with their Performance Package 4.0 and brand new Ultra Premium Body Wash. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate nuts. It also comes equipped with a 4,000K LED spotlight that will shine a light to the promised land that 2022 looks to be. To complete the set, Manscaped threw in their Shed travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs as free gifts to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. Kick discomfort and poor hygiene to the curb this year and use the best tools for the job. Cheers to new balls in 2022. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code Chiclets at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code Chiclets, CHICLETS. It's a new year. No pubes in 2022 with Manscaped. Take care of your partner, folks. Nobody wants to be.
I got to take these pubes off my face. I keep licking my stash. It gets like I get addicted to the little wiry hairs, and I look like a donkey on TV when I'm like.
You should Google Eric Van Rooyen. He's a PGA Tour player, and he's got an unreal mustache right now, kind of at the end, like
he does
the oil or whatever. He gets it together.
The wax.
Met with the wax. Yeah, you should do that.
My old man said, "You look like John Holmes, Biz." When we were watching the game the other night, he's like, "What's up with Biz's face? He looks like John Holmes out there."
Is that another old Italian porn star? You know,
he's not Italian, but I mean, if you don't know John Holmes,
it's another porn star.
Oh yeah, John Holmes is legendary, dude.
Fucking kidding.
You never heard of John Holmes?
All right, I don't watch VHS pornos. Like I don't know who John Holmes is.
Listen, he could have been on fucking reel-to-reel 8mm back when there were no talking in movies. John Holmes is.
I think I'd love to do a poll, but I think we're at 4% of people listening know who John Holmes is.
I was going to say that. Yeah,
legendary porn star. I mean, he was very loose inspiration with Boogie Nights. But did you ever see the movie Wonderland with Val Kilmer?
No. The best part is your dad talked about a porn star too. Like that's even another interesting.
All right, what'd you like about his game?
No one's dad watched.
No, we don't. I don't talk about it with my dad though. Maybe I'm in the minority on that one too. Any of you boys talk to your dad about porn stars?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, then your dad's just not.
All right, what'd you like about his game so much? Who'd you compare him to?
Nobody. I mean, he had like a legit. I don't know if it was 15-inch erection. I mean, it was huge. Long Dong Silva was the only guy who had a bigger one than John Holmes that were for me.
Oh, Lex Steele didn't have a fucking bigger rope than this guy?
Long Dong Silva was the biggest I've seen in footage, but John Holmes was legendary. But, he ended up his life kind of got out of control. He got into the drugs. They ended up robbing someone who got killed, and he ended up dying of AIDS.
Ray's the type of guy who went saw like Debbie Does Dallas at the movie theater with his old man.
No, let's not disparage Leo here. Leo didn't take me to see
They brought the Playboy to read during the previews.
It was an autograph signing. They showed up live before. They had the horse from when the fucking girl crushed the horse.
They had a bunch of clay to wrap around his hog so they could make one at home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to happen. No, our family is nothing but love and good times. Unlike the Philadelphia Flyers alumni.
No, all right, we're sticking. I want to ask you one more question. Who's your Mount Rushmore of porn stars, guys? Apparently, I'm supposed to know like all these legends.
Guys,
I know Peter North because he must have hung out for months and months.
You don't know Jean-Paul Fernando from Portugal with the 13-inch erection, Biz?
John Holmes, Peter North, and listen, I know he's had legal troubles lately, and we'll kind of put those in the back burner. Ron Jeremy, I mean, he kind of changed the game. He was a schlubby guy. And he became a huge
imagine
star.
how stinky his fucking unit was, and these girls had to suck on his schlong.
And then a fourth.
I would say Peter North because of his batch size.
Pete North, John Holmes, Ron Jeremy, and Joey Silvera may be worth it. There's the fourth slot. That's tough. There's a lot of guys who go in there for the women. Probably the Lynn sisters, Ginger and Amber, although they're not technically sisters. Who else? Geez, I'd have to think a minute on that. There's a lot. Tori Wells. God, that VHS era, man. I'm telling you, they produced incredible amounts of stars. I know you guys aren't used to them.
They got the ski slope tits back then. They got the
banana tits.
The movie Banana Tits.
I.e. natural.
The throwback titties.
Yeah, same. That was the mother from Close Encounters. Too.
All right, we can move on from the.
We can move on.
Talks.
So, like I said, there's nothing like a big happy family, but the Philadelphia Flyers alumni is anything but right now. Bobby Clark appeared on our buddy Cameron Strick's podcast last week, and he's
seen a few pair of 80s tits. Right?
70s Flyers. Oh my God, I can't imagine what those savages were up to back then. But guys, it's very unusual to hear a franchise legend like kind of shit on another franchise legend from the same team. It's just not something you see. But Ronnie Hextall, he's got to get the daggers out of his back. Bobby Clark had some stuff to say. He basically said none of our scouts wanted Nolan Patrick. That Ron Hextall made up his mind himself. All the scouts were pissed off. They wanted McCarr. He also said Hextall could have got Ryan O'Reilly from Buffalo. Didn't happen. It was just unusual. Then he talked about Mike Keenan, basically shit all over him. He said he couldn't understand how he coached or why he coached. I mean, boys, go to you first with. This is pretty unusual stuff for, like I said, franchise legend to dump on a franchise legend like this.
Yeah, seriously, and it was on Cam and Strick podcast. I don't know if you said that. So we got to shout out those guys getting a great interview. That's awesome for them. They do a great job. And Bobby Clark, I mean, Bobby Clark's getting old. Grinelli, if you could probably look up how old he is. I'm not at all saying he doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. I'm more saying the older you get, I think the less of a fuck you give.
72.
72.
Oh, yeah. Past 70, you give a fuck meter.
Past 70, you're looking back at you're looking at your team that, you've spent your entire adult life being a part of one way or the other as a player, as GM, and all the different roles that Bobby Clark spent. And you're looking at a tough time and you're getting questions and you're talking about, what is like your family, and you're wondering why things are going wrong, and you're over 70 and you just start chucking out daggers to somebody who you think really fucked up your squad. So, Biz, you had a really good point. I'll let you make on Makar before the draft. But when you talk about going at a guy like Ron Hextall, it just shows that Bobby Clark doesn't really care, and he has his opinions on the fact that in his mind they wouldn't be in this position they would be in right now without Ron Hextall. I'm not one to judge Bobby Clark. It is tough though to see public comments made. You don't see that much in hockey about, a former partner or whatever they could be called, Hextall and Bobby Clark, and seeing kind of how ugly it got.
Well, I mean, it was more of public knowledge and just the hindsight of, I don't think anybody had Makar in the top two. Like nobody, as far as the big scouting or the Bob McKenzies or any of these types of guys. Apparently nobody, even within their organization at the time, had them in the top two. Nolan Patrick was for sure listed, I think, at one point as at the worst second overall, and that's what he ended up going to the Flyers. Now, regarding the alienation of team scouts and making decisions on his own, from just talking to people, sounds like something that maybe Ron Hextall would have done. The Ryan O'Reilly thing, well, depends what they would have had to give it up and who he believed in at the time. So that's another hindsight one. The other stuff in the alienating of the scouts and doing that, I think that given the fact that he's moved on to the Pittsburgh Penguins, which seem to be a pretty big rival of the Philadelphia Flyers, and that the moves that he has made have kind of created this this non-winning environment, I can understand the bitterness towards Bobby Clarke, towards Ron Hextall, but to trash him like that in the media at this point, just a very, very, very bizarre and actually smart move by Ronnie Hextall, saying right now I don't have the time or energy to kind of get back to you on this one. But I would imagine at some point, given his competitive nature, he's going to have a lot of things to say that were very calculated that are going to come out. Do you not think he's going to fire back, Whit?
Oh, I think that's a guy that's going to put that in the old memory bank. I don't know if you ever saw any clips of Ron Hextall. It's funny, though, picturing them tilting. It's kind of like Adam Sandler and Bob Barker, and then Bob Barker beats the wheels off of him in Happy Gilmore. I don't think that Bobby Clarke will be beating the wheels off Hextall, but it's like, don't underestimate Bobby fucking Clarke playing hockey all those years with no front teeth, being a complete lunatic, breaking that Russian's ankle with that slash in the 72 Summit Series. He'll do anything to win.
Well, he does have the movie teeth now, so he's got to be careful he doesn't fuck those things up.
I don't think he wants to be messing around with Ron Hextall. But he'll remember that. There'll be comments about that at some point down the road.
What good stick fight? What was the other bad move that he was complaining about, other than alienating scouts, not taking their advice on the Makar, the O'Reilly trade? I mean,
he shit on Mike Keenan. He said, I don't call that coaching. His coaching style was just to abuse the players. Mike's process was just wrong the whole time. Just another guy he's just so.
I mean, I've also talked to a lot of players who didn't like Mike Keenan's philosophies and how he liked to handle his business. So I guess I don't really have an opinion on that one. I never played for Mike Keenan, but I talked to a lot of guys who have, and he was a nightmare.
But I mean, we should rough and rowdy Hextall versus Bobby Clarke, just a stick fight, because those guys love whacking each other, whacking opponents with sticks. What would you pay for that, Biz? $50?
I think the reason he came over the top ropes is the fact that Ron Hextall's now in Pittsburgh, and it looks like they're going to fucking go on to maybe have a cup run and maybe even win one. And he's left that team in disarray. If I could just sum it up in a couple sentences.
Well, like Whit said, he's old and doesn't give a fuck at this point.
Yeah, that too.
Pretty cool moment. Carolina, they had signed the goaltender Jack LaFontaine a few days prior, and he ended up getting in the game for the Canes. We've talked about this before, all these e-bug situations, goalies who are jumping in out of nowhere to play for these NHL clubs. It's pretty cool. He played the last 15 minutes after Freddie Anderson got pulled. He did give up 2 goals on 3 shots, but they were breakaways, cut the guy some slack. Rod also said he wanted to give Freddie a little bit of rest on a night when the D stunk. And he also thought it was a good idea to throw the kid into the mix in case he has to get back out there. But another one of these e-bug stories that, I don't know, people seem to like them. I do. I like sharing them. So let's see, moving right along. Jack Eichel, he started skating just 3 weeks after surgery. Said he feels fine. No real ill effects. It's kind of like, what was this whole fucking hullabaloo about anyways? Owner Bill Foley said he could debut in a few weeks. So obviously, another thing we're keeping our eye on. And, I mean, Vegas, they've been managing to hum along even with all the injuries they had. So when you drop this 1C into the lineup like this, man, they're going to be a tough squad to beat. Let's see, chugging right along here. Team USA, they announced their Olympic roster. Biz just spoiled one of the picks for us was
Jake Sanderson. Big left ear, just like Whit.
People say that there's a lot of similarities between me and Jake. I was one of them. I think that he's going to be a stud, though. If he ends up like me, Jesus Christ, poor bastard. He better not end up like me on the ice. Off the ice, he'd be okay.
Just longevity. Some more prime years. Some more signing on the dotted line for 24 sheets.
I know. He's going to, yeah, we needed him to maybe sign on the dotted line for 85 at the end. That'd be nice.
Oh, I just forgot one thing from talking about Bobby Clark, when Jonesy was telling us that story when he was retired. And it was like, usually a sad event when a guy's retired, and Jonesy didn't seem offended, but he gets up to the mic, Bobby Clark. He's like, well, Jonesy's done. Like, that was his fucking retirement announcement. Fucking just all-time stuff from Bobby Clark. But all right, moving right along. There's a little bit of Canadian kindness in every sip of a Labatt Blue Light. How did it get in there? They're Canadian. That's how. You can spread the love yourself by sharing a Labatt. When you share a Labatt, you're not just sharing a beer, you're sharing an experience that'll pair with anything from hockey to hoedown. So next time you're watching hockey with the buds, be sure to share a Labatt, because while you might not all root for the same team, you can all enjoy a Labatt Blue Light. We're going to be working with Labatt all year, and we got some exciting content coming up, so grab some Blue Light and enjoy. All right, Biz. Nick Lidstrom was named vice president of hockey operations for the Detroit Red Wings. Stevie Y made a little joke in his press conference, basically kind of saying, we want you to join us. I don't know if you caught that. It was pretty funny. Stevie Y doesn't make too many jokes, so when he does, we try to share them. But do you think he could jump in? He could probably jump in right now and play on a team, Biz, you think? Nicky Lidstrom?
No, that's why he retired. I don't think he wanted to play anymore.
I think he could.
You still think he could play at his age?
Do you think his ability level, if he got in shape?
Yeah.
Well, he's doing the Merles workout, exactly. So maybe.
The Swedish body weight stuff.
I'm not saying he would be at that level, but even if like Lidstrom had 60% of normal Lidstrom, that might be like 100% for a lot of guys.
How old is he now?
I think
if
you got
48?
51.
Oh, yeah, come on. I don't think I guess
Biz, if you put Lidstrom, if you gave Lidstrom 2 weeks of practicing with the team, I think first game back, he would not look out of place. I don't know, man. That guy, he was the perfect player. I cannot imagine his skating would be that much different. If he stayed in shape, like since he retired, he could easily play.
10 years since he last played a game.
No, that's way too long to be out,
Holy
boys.
shit.
Come on.
Lidstrom retired.
That's how long Chelios played till, though, to be fair. Didn't Chelios play till he was like 57?
He's still playing in Europe somewhere.
He looked like a big bag of leather out there just skating around. Big bag of brown leather. All that tanning he did.
We mentioned the All-Star Game selections a little while ago. G wanted me to remind you that registration for the Chiclets Cup ends this Friday, the 21st. So if you haven't got your team in, or if you want to be a solo player, get put on a team, make sure you go to chicletscup.com to register. Also, our buddies from Danbury, the Danbury Trashers, AJ Galante, they're putting a team together. Is this going to be like Federal League shit, G, or what? Are these guys strapping up or what?
We have broken out all the stops. We have the Danbury Trashers, Nashers now putting in a team.
What division
Pavel
are
Barber.
they? Sorry. What division of the Trashers? Are they in the one with Biz?
They are not. There are a few divisions below. But maybe we set up a little celebrity game between Biz and the Trashers just to get the people
maybe
going.
not, because we're going to be focused on taking down the nose face killer on the what's it called again?
National Ball Hockey League Association.
Yeah, who cares? Fuck them. We're going to bend them over. What else we got, RA, in hockey news?
I think that pretty much sums up the hockey news. The NFL playoffs were this weekend. The Patriots got bounced out. You can't say it's a huge surprise. Buffalo absolutely dick stomped them. Biz, your Green Bay Packers had the bye. So who were you rooting for, if anybody, this weekend?
Oh, I just wanted to talk about that Dallas Cowboys match in that end of the game. That was just some of the ugliest. Like, Mike McCarthy was in Green Bay for a while. Like, you hear enough about maybe how Rodgers' competence helped out him and elevated his wins as a coach. But then again, Dallas, they had a great season. What'd they finish off with? 11 wins. They finished 11-6. How are they just like that unorganized?
The NFL coaching
so bad.
These guys are clueless. It's actually amazing how many of them make mistakes that you like. The viewer at home, the not fringe football fan, but normal football fan is like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like this is the only sport where that often you're like, what is this coach doing? Like, it's just so maybe for these guys, they work so much. You always hear 100-hour weeks. They're always there. And then they forget like the simple things, the clock, like, I don't know, the way that game ended with the rush up the middle, it was so, what are we watching here? I will say Dallas is a good team. San Fran's legit. They are like, I think San Fran could go to the Super Bowl.
I think if I was a head coach, I would have a guy specifically to be telling me when I got to take a timeout, manage the clock. I would have like a separate guy to just tell me that, because I think some of these guys get jammed up and when they have to call plays. Now, is Mike McCarthy the offensive coordinator as well as like the overall head coach?
No, they were showing that young looking kid the whole time.
Kellen Moore.
So in that case, it's Mike McCarthy, the head coach, who at least, I mean, come on, man. If the other guy's calling the plays, you at least got to figure out how to manage the fucking clock. I mean, it's like, do something out there for fuck's sakes, Mike, other than crush the fucking buffet before the games, man. Is he looking big? Jesus Christ.
I think we might be spoiled with Belichick, because when we watch other coaches, like the way they butcher the use of timeouts, the way they just fuck up so much. It's like, how is this guy head coach of an NFL team, man? It's just brutal. That was an absolute slop fest. But how about the Cincinnati Bengals? They knock off the Raiders. First playoff win in 31 years, man. Imagine 31 years without your fucking team winning a playoff game.
Is?
Snap.
No,
They won a game.
I guess
they won a game.
No, I guess you would consider a game in NFL much like a series in the NHL. I mean, no, it was cool. There was a viral clip that got out there with the head coach stopped by a local bar and gave like a game ball to the fans and stuff like that. So I love when small markets, especially in football, win, because you could see the impact it does have on the community. Especially like, imagine like the Browns ended up going to the conference championship. That would be like the Super Bowl for the Cleveland Browns, right? So yeah, Cincinnati was kind of one of those teams I put in that bracket, and they got a stud. That Burrow guy, Joe Burrow.
He's that dude.
Is there a cooler guy in football right now?
Yeah, he's got it all going. He even had those cool sunglasses that only a real cool person could pull off post game. The other Chase, the dude that he played at LSU with Burrow on that team, and I think he took off the whole next year. Like, he couldn't be drafted, but he just didn't play. Maybe he got hurt. I might be incorrect, but those two, they had the connection to win the national title. He's now a superstar receiver already. I was pumped for the Bengals. Great helmets. Everyone's always said great helmets on the Bengals. The place was rocking. They won't have another game because now they travel to Tennessee. I could see them beating Tennessee, although Derrick Henry's coming back, I guess. NFL playoffs, wild card weekend's great. A little disappointed. A couple games, I guess Dallas was an entertaining game. Cincy was an entertaining game, even though it wasn't at the end. It was very close to the Vegas Raiders tying it up.
How bad was that play that Carr threw? He threw it short of the end zone in a double coverage.
I never understand that. If you have to get a first down, or you have to get in the end zone, at least throw it to the end zone. He made a great throw, though, because I had the Bengals. I won that bet -6. So I was panicking because he made a sick throw on third or fourth down to keep that drive alive when they're going to tie it up like through the middle. I forget who caught it, but Pittsburgh. Talk about time to rebuild, I guess. I mean, I guess just time for a new QB. But they got out to the lead in Kansas City. I was watching that. And by the end, I'd switched over to the golf to watch Matsuyama in one of the greatest shots I've ever seen in my life. 277 yards, hits a high cut 3-wood to 3 feet for a tap-in eagle to win the Sony Open in Hawaii. So I had switched over, but yeah, the Chiefs looked pretty legit in the end. What else did I have to mention though?
I'll say that the gifs and the memes of the Barstool was posting about Jackson Mahomes and Juju Schuster.
He's hated, huh?
He's a donkey guy.
He's the worst.
He seems. I saw the restaurant. I don't know if you saw what they said he did. There's some stories come out where you're like, this kid seems like it's my brother's the man and I'm gonna do whatever I want type attitude.
He danced on Sean Taylor's memorial. He did a TikTok dance on the Sean Taylor memorial, and it was that game too.
Oh my goodness.
Early in the season, yeah.
Maybe he didn't know, but yeah, this kid seems to be a bit out to lunch. And I tell you what, he wears those shorts. He's like he's wearing bathing suits all the time. Doesn't matter what the temperature is.
How about, did you guys see the clip of our pal Hank from Pardon My Take?
Incredible.
All-time Hank moment. He thought he bet TJ Watt to score the first touchdown at 125-1. Those are incredible odds. Picks up, I think it was a fumble, runs it in, gets a touchdown. Hank's going nuts. So he spent $25 to win $3,000. All of a sudden, Nick looks at the bet. He's like, no, you bet Derek Watt instead of TJ. It was like the all-time fucking sonk. Like just thinking you won $3,000 on a $20 fucking $5 bet. I mean, 125-1 hitting odds like that. That's a huge high as a gamble. But that's why I always say check your tickets, everybody out there, when you're putting plays in, because that shit happens.
In fairness, if I saw like Watt, Pittsburgh, I'm the guy who's bet the opposite team and it never works out. You know, like I mean to bet the Panthers. I end up betting the Hurricanes by accident, and then the Panthers win. Like that, it's just amazing the way it happened live on camera. And then Nick's like, dude, that's a Derek. I actually saw Hank's tweet because, you know, we're a little ahead of time of the stream. And I said, oh, maybe TJ's Watt, his real name is Derek. Because I had no idea there was an actual fullback named Derek Watt. So, yeah, that was a tough move by Witt.
Hey, so what about Matsuyama?
God.
What was he down? 3 shots in the last 5 holes?
The back 9, he was down 5. And then I think he was down 4 after the 10th hole, 3 after then he ended up getting 2 shots on a hole. So then he was down 2 shots. And then he birdied 18 to tie it. And Russell Henley had like an 8-footer and it just lipped out to win the tournament. And that was, you know, once you go back to the playoff with Hideki, it's not exactly the guy. So Hideki Matsuyama, he's won 3 of his last 18 starts, including the Masters. He's like the best, one of the best ball strikers in the world. So every single round, for the most part, look at the stats, he's hitting the fairway, hitting the green. He's just a horrific putter, like statistically an awful putter. This week, he was number 1 in the tournament. So it's almost like with his game and his ball striking, the way he hits it, when he is on putting, he wins or finishes top 3. You know, it's just one of those things. So he's turned into a world power. And crazy, the broadcast mentioned it. I would have guessed Hideki Matsuyama, because I've heard his name for so long, was 33. He's 29. It's like golf. That's young, man. You're looking at, I think it's like they say 32 to 36, true prime in golf. Don't quote me, because this is a podcast. I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I'll say it was a fun tournament to watch, because I think the prime time golf is exciting when you can watch at night. I like that.
Definitely a little bit more low key. And I guess we could shift it to the guys who will be under the bright lights. They're doing a Netflix series with all these golf guys. And I want to say that Max Homa is going to be involved. DeChambeau. What's the rest of the list there, RA?
Yeah, Biz, a boatload of names here. Obviously, what's more the golf guy than me, but Abraham Ansa, Daniel Berger, Cameron Champ, Tony Finau, Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Garcia, Harry Higgs, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Morikawa, Kevin Na. There's a lot of big names here. Schauffele, Jordan Spieth, Bubba Watson. I mean, you know, sometimes you expect maybe lower tier guys, Whit, but there's some big names in this thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. It's based on the F1 show Drive to Survive, which is kind of what got me into F1. At least the series is awesome to watch. I really like that. So now it'll be great with golf, because these guys don't say much to the media. They just, it's you know, it's an individual sport, so you're out there and it's all on you. And I think a lot of guys like staying within themselves, but also at this day and age with social media and Netflix and how big Drive to Survive was, it can only help their brand to make maybe a little bit more money away from the game. So I'm looking forward to seeing guys who are struggling at times, because the game of golf, you watch golf on TV, you just see amazing shot after amazing shot, and it's pulled putt and bomb drive. But if you go to a tour event, you see bad golf shots. Golf is so hard, and you see a lot of guys that go through spells of not making cuts. Even these big names, they'll go through a little spell. Maybe they miss 3 out of 4 cuts. And those are the guys you're going to be interested. I'm going to be interested in at least watching and following, because you're going to witness how are they approaching getting through the grind of a lull in golf? And it's like a roller coaster. And so guys who are the best in the world still have times where they can't hit a fairway, it seems like. And then you have the cameras around. You're going to see, like, I think a lot of it will be mental things to end up getting out of certain funks. Swing mishaps and little kinks in your swing can happen, but a lot of these guys, it's mental, and to witness how it'll go down with how much inside information we'll get from the cameras and the players themselves, I can't wait. I don't know if they'll be dropping into series as the season goes, or just wait till the end of the season like F1 does and just drop 10 episodes or whatever it is.
Especially with those individual sports, like you said, like F1, where these guys are on a bit of an island, whereas opposed to like if you're doing like a team behind the scenes type thing. Now, who are some NHL guys? If let's say you could pick like 12 NHL guys, who are some names you'd want to be able to follow through behind the scenes for maybe a half a season, maybe a full season?
Marcus Foligno, definitely.
Yes, that's a great answer.
Kucherov. I want to see Kucherov.
No question. Austin Matthews, because his relationship with Bieber, I think.
Yeah, you get a little bit more star power there. That's a great answer.
Zegras, he don't give a fuck. He'd be hilarious because he's a young kid, but doesn't seem to care what other people.
Hockey, you could just never do it because it's a team sport. You can't just have the cameras there for one guy all the time.
I would say Oshie, because he doesn't really follow hockey much. So obviously he's doing a lot of other things to keep himself
The director's
busy.
like, TJ, you got a game tonight. He's like, what?
Go introduce yourself to the guys in the other team first.
Radulov would be great too. I think Radulov would be hilarious.
I think Ovi for sure. Got to see what's going on at the pregame meals.
Joe Thornton, he'd be great too. I mean, for an older guy, he's very vocal, big chirper. He'd be pretty entertaining to watch. So yeah, like you said though, it's pretty unlikely it would happen, but it's good to imagine they could do it. Actually, that Amazon thing they did on Toronto last season, that was great. It was only like 3 or 4 seasons, but it was the closest I've seen to HBO 24/7 since they did 24/7. They got all the swearing intact and behind the scenes footage. If you haven't seen it, check it out, man. I'm hoping they do it this year.
When you said Joe Brent Burns would be fun, especially if you got to go back to his property in Texas.
Definitely.
Was he got 200 acres there?
Keith Yandel, KY. I mean, he's all-time
comedy
chirper.
show.
Just for the songs alone would be.
You could do definitely a different mix, right? You could do like Austin's hanging out with the celebrities. You get the more laid back, like Burnsy on the ranch. You got the
Russians,
the Ruski, the whatever the fuck they're going and doing. Who else? Give me one more last name to wrap it up. Each guy.
Patty Maroon.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Why am I struggling with this?
Maybe the Kachuk brothers.
Oh, Zibanejad. I'll see Zibanejad in New York City.
The DJ in the DJ booth. All right.
The Kachuk brothers whacking each other in the nuts.
Yeah, and one more from you, RA. Last one we'll figure.
Last one from me.
The Warthog, Radulov.
I think G just said that. That's right.
Oh, did you?
I gave a little Warthog sound. Fuck, man. There's
Peter North.
Zach Bogosian. He seems like he'd be a character. These older guys seem like they'd be a little more fun. They've been around the bush a little. Biz, I'm going to be rooting for your Packers, believe it or not. I got a couple futures from before the season on. You could bet possible Super Bowl matchups. I have Packers versus Bills at 65-1 and Packers versus Chiefs at 40-1. So I'm not a Packers guy per se, but all I need is them to get there. I don't need either team to win. Just get there. And I'll cash in before the game even starts. And I texted you guys yesterday just to go back to the football. Couple different lines in the game. So I bought a few points. What was it? Philadelphia Tampa Bay game. I bet over 44 and I bet under 49. And it ended up on 46 points. So basically, if it lands in between, even if it lands on one of the numbers, you'll push and win. So I hit both sides of that. It landed at 46 points. So nice little pop. Anytime you can find those tweeners, they don't happen often, but they're a nice little payoff if you can find one.
Oh, better than me losing my $450 to your fucking Oilers, Whit.
That's a lot of money. Well, yeah.
Most what do you say? Frustrating loss of his entire career, McDavid.
Yeah, he looked despondent after that game in that press conference. Before we wrap up, I got 2 things I watched that I would recommend. I enjoyed. We went to, my wife and I went to Mexico this past week. So we were there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, which was a great little getaway. We did a trip after Ryder was born alone, and then after he turned 1, and we did a trip alone after Wyatt turned 1. So I stayed at Mayakoba. They actually have a PJ Tour event there. Unreal. 25, 30 minutes outside of Cancun. Incredible. There's 5 different resorts in this Mayakoba area. There's a Fairmont. There's a Banyan Tree, one of them is called. We stayed at Rosewood, Mayakoba. One of my favorite vacations. I had a blast. I had so much chips and guac. Like I'm not going to Chipotle for 2 weeks since I got home, I said. But on the flight there, I watched the documentary on Anthony Bourdain called The Road Runner. I didn't know much about him, but what an amazing life and a tragic end. And I don't consider it spoiling because I knew before I watched the show, even though I didn't know a lot about him, but he committed suicide a few years ago. But seeing this guy's life and who he was and how he became who he was, I recommend it to anyone. I loved seeing it, and just a wild life for somebody who like just never stopped. Actually, Biz, like there's a lot of similarities between you two in that, like, he just loved working. He's so passionate about so many different parts of life. I recommend that. And then I watched a movie. It's called, I'd never even heard about it. It was just, I was searching iTunes for stuff to download. It was The Card Counter. It was, I don't know if anyone's seen Drive with Ryan, who's in that?
Ryan Gosling. Yeah.
And it's a little, I don't want to say dark, but different with certain music and certain scenes. And this movie really reminded me of it. Great performance by the actor, Oscar Isaac, I think his name. Isaac.
Yeah.
Holy
terrific.
Shit. So not the most exciting movie, but I loved it. I was all in on it. So check that one out. Chirp me if you hated it.
But the type of movie you're exhausted when you're done finishing because you're just kind of dialed in the entire time where you're on.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not like super intense the entire time, but there's moments of high intensity. And this guy who counts cards and what he went through in life, really, I recommend it. I liked it. It won't be everyone's cup of tea, I'll say that. But
I never Drive.
I did. And if you've seen Drive and you watch it, let me know if you think there's some certain similarities. I'm wondering on people's opinion on that. So those were the two things I watched. On the way home, I downloaded an old one. I know I'm into the old movies. It's not that old. I think it was The Insider already with Russell Crowe.
Oh, phenomenal, Michael Mann.
Holy shit. And I downloaded it because I'm a Michael Mann guy. He directed Heat. That's one of my favorite movies. So The Insider, it's basically the entire blowing of the whistle on Big Tobacco. Awesome story. And Al Pacino
corporate media stroked them off. Sorry to cut you off, but that's
sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
And then how corporate media stroked off Big Tobacco.
Crazy. And Al Pacino is a dog. He's a legendary 60 Minutes producer. Just the beginning of the movie, how he gets an interview for the legendary reporter, who's the guy who
Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace. And he had a great role. And whoever played him, that older gentleman, he was a phenomenal actor.
Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, so great movies I saw there, and the trip was awesome. One funny moment or two funny moments from the trip. We got a couples massage, right? Really romantic. You do it in the same room. I don't understand why you pay more to do that because I fell asleep and I'm snoring, and she's like, "Will you wake up?"
You don't get a discount for a couples massage?
I think you pay a little bit more to be in the same room. I don't know. This place wasn't cheap exactly.
I figure you're buying in bulk.
Yeah, so. But before, like the women are like, "Oh, so where do you want us to focus?" So they're like, you want the pressure hard? And she's like, "Any parts of the body you want me to stay away from?" I was like, my wife, I could think of one. My wife would say, "Nobody found that funny." I did though. I also met a guy. So one of the nights we were there, they did a dinner. I don't remember the name of it. It's kind of a Mexican tradition where you were only able to get, I think it was 22 couples. Now, it wasn't all couples. There was some mother-daughter trips, but it was 22 sets of two, so 44 people, and you all eat together at two huge tables. So you just get to know, like I got to know this dude, Mark, from St. Louis next to me. He ended up moving to Miami with his girlfriend who's in school to become a marine biologist. Now, Mark, this guy had 400 pieces of shrimp. They brought out shrimp and a fish at the beginning, and then they brought out a steak and a chicken, the second course of the meal. And I was having a blast with this guy. I was like, dude, you've eaten more shrimp. You're not even ready to get the chicken and the steak. And now I thought of the line, like the ocean call that wants its shrimp back from Seinfeld. And George at one point said he was a marine biologist, like this guy's wife or girlfriend, Mark. So we had a blast. And then at one point I was talking to everyone. I was feeling great. I had a edible. I'm just having a blast. So much tequila. Unfortunately, the cook, who was this man rocket, he's talking to my wife the whole time. At one point, I said to Mark, I think the cook's trying to crush my wife. He was a great guy. He wasn't, but I was like, all right, I'll just talk to Mark, honey. No worries. So, what was I getting to?
Was this the same resort as?
So Mark says to me, so I'm talking to everyone. So I'm like, and Mark's like, what do you do? What do you do? And I was like, oh, I used to play hockey. Actually, I was in St. Louis with my buddy, Paul Bissonnette. We were like a Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey circus for training camp. We didn't make the team. He goes, you played hockey? He goes, you don't seem like you've done anything in life. But it was a great, like we were giving it back and forth to each other. Funny bastard. I got his number. I said I'd text him when I get to Fort Lauderdale. We'd play golf. I think I might. But yeah, it was really good to get away and refresh and recharge. And I still was able to watch some hockey at night. So I wanted to mention my trip and the movies I watched.
Nice. Yeah, I caught the card counter. I wasn't too crazy about it. I like Paul Schrader. He actually wrote Taxi Driver. He directed and wrote a great movie. Actually, look it up. It's called Blue Collar. It was Richard Pryor, Harvey Keitel, and Yaphet Kotto. It's back about 70s auto workers. He wrote and directed. Awesome movie if you want to check it out. The Roadrunner, I'll back you on that one with some tremendous documentary about Bourdain. And, of course,
so
The Insider.
You just thought card counters a little slow, kind of?
Yeah. And I love Drive. I'm a huge fan of Drive.
Did you see similarities in the music and like
when I think of Drive, I think of Collateral.
Yeah,
I know we talked about that not too long ago.
Yeah, I can't say I did. I don't know. Maybe if I watched it again, I might see something different. But I wasn't that crazy about the card counter. I love Oscar Isaac, big Schrader fan. But yeah, Roadrunner. If you are an Anthony Bourdain fan, check that out. It was
even if you're not. I didn't know anything about him.
Yeah. It's sad. It's kind of a sad story, but interesting life he had. He kind of, went from his cook to writing his book, becoming popular, and having the show. And I don't know. It was interesting. But what about you, Biz? Anything you got final notes here before we wrap the show up or what?
No, I just want to congratulate Ryder for getting on the Jumbotron at the Garden.
Big time.
Wow, that's huge, man. He is such a cute kid. Did he catch a puck too?
No. So my wife's parents, Dave and Missy, they have seats on the glass. I think they have them for 14 of the 41 games or whatever it is, or maybe more, but first two, and then the two behind it. So Ryder and Cooper's 5 and Ryder's 4. They went, and then just by banging on the glass, I don't know which guys, one of the Preds gave it to him because I was up in different seats, but he hasn't let go of this puck. And we went pond skating the other day with Billy Ryan and his kids, and it was a blast. He's got the puck out there the whole time. My kids are taking it from him. He's crying. I go, dude, you can't cry. You got to go get the puck back. You can't just sit there and cry when you get the puck taken.
That's what Dad did.
Exactly. That's what I did. But look, it made me 30 sheets. So maybe it does work, Ryder.
Well, that's a good way to end it.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you to Keith Ballard. That was a blast. And I'm getting really excited for the Chiclets Cup. We're about 2 weeks away, and we're going to be in Vegas. Biz has a lot to prove, and I'm going to be out there with RA trying to get the real answers from the tough questions. And we love all you guys.
And wait, the Barstool team has a big addition we can't announce yet, but it's big.
What?
It will be the biggest, most popular player in the tournament, the best player in the tournament. It's a big one. I'll just leave it at that.
And we should mention the promotional games. We're doing that ECHL series. We have one on January 25th. Or no, 27th, correct, G?
27th, yes.
January 27th
jersey
in Orlando. This is the jersey right here, the Polar Bears.
Solar Bears.
God damn it. I kept saying fucking Polar Bears. The Solar Bears. And then we got February 25th in Atlanta for the Atlanta Gladiators game. And then on March 25th, I believe, with the Wheeling Nailers, we're doing throwback night. I'm going back to Wheeling. The two-time ECHL All-Star is heading back to West Banco Arena. So
you got to get Nick and KB there.
Nick and KB, you are invited. Hopefully they show up, and we'll see you guys. For the Wheeling game, it's a 7:10 start. For January 27th in Orlando, it's a 7 o'clock start, and it's $20 to get you into the Pink Whitney zone, and they will be playing, I believe, against the Utah Grizzlies. So it'll be a good game. It's going to be jam-packed. Same owners as the Orlando Magic own the Solar Bears with. A-class organization. We're getting dialed right in, and we will see you there for Pink Whitney night in Orlando, January 27th.
Guys, and one last thing, our axe throwing video with Mark Parrish that we filmed in Minnesota drops on Thursday on the YouTube channel. So check it out there.
And that is it.
Peace.